No one has beaten this game in 10 years, until this exact second when the screen flashes clear and everything changes. Retrotaku, a video game streamer chasing the impossible, leaps up screaming that he won, pounding his chest as his chat floods with disbelief. 10 years after release, the first winner has finally appeared, and it's him. Retrotaku explains himself to his chat. He's a streamer who specializes in brutally difficult retro games, channel sitting at 2.34 million subscribers. He thanks the donations rolling in, basking in the fact that he's just delivered the world's first clear in the game's 10-year history. Grinning, he jokes that his skills are simply nuts. A viewer mourns the Saint character, dead in the final battle despite being rare. Fans had bonded with this cast, hoping everyone could survive. But every ally falls except the hero. Retrotaku shrugs. His goal was clearing the game, not a no-death run. The results screen crowns Lucas as MVP, Hell difficulty, Ironman mode, world rank first, standing alone amid the wreckage. On screen, Lucas stands before the slain boss, surrounded by a mountain of dead monsters and fallen allies. Watching in silence, Retrotaku can't shake a strange feeling. Why does a mere game character's silhouette look so lonely? The credits roll. The end, every director role credited to the same name, Mr. A. Retrotaku sighs, guessing that's that. Chat wonders aloud if the developers owe him some kind of prize. Retrotaku laughs it off. Nah, he doesn't need anything. It was fun enough as it is, and he insists he's not the type to angle for gifts. Besides, the game's official website went dark years ago, and there hasn't been a sequel in a decade. There's simply no way the developers could ever reach him. A notification dings across his screen, a message from director Mr. A, the actual developer of Protect the Empire, introducing himself directly. Retrotaku freezes, jaw-dropping, as his chat erupts into confused disbelief. The message continues. The developer had honestly given up hope that anyone would ever beat the game, but seeing it cleared brings him real relief, and he offers his sincere thanks. Retrotaku brushes it off as no big deal, but the developer presses on, relieved to know there's still hope for them. Hope for what? A sequel. Then the message shifts. He's proven his skills and qualifications and is asked to come help them in person. Suspicious it's a scam, he moves to kick the account, Mr. So-called developer, lol, just as a blinding flash erupts. So Retrotaku smirks. What you're trying to say is, before his vision violently blurs, what's happening to him? The room tilts, his head swimming as he staggers, wondering if he's simply been gaming too long. A blinding light floods the screen. His last thought, at least if he faints, chat will call for help. He collapses with a thud, the monitor glowing "Thank you for playing." The credits still hang in the golden light, that faint electric crackle humming under them. Then it all goes white in a blinding flash, a shockwave of green energy detonating outward through the frame. A pair of eyes snaps open, stunned back into consciousness. Lucas roars and lashes out mid-motion, dust exploding around him. A beat later he freezes, sweat streaking his face. Just now, what was that noise? Before he can answer himself, the ground erupts behind him in smoke and debris, and he screams, "What the hell is this?" The blast throws debris skyward, a hand stretching out through the haze. Lucas growls, catching a scent curling off a smoking cannon barrel, and mutters, "This smell, gunpowder." A flame flickers at his feet, then detonates into a blinding ring of fire. Lucas drops hard onto scorched ground, stunned silent. Another explosion rips through the distance, and he snaps, irritated, "Ah, for fuck's sake. Could you?" But the words die in his throat as his eyes lock onto a banner snapping in the wind ahead of him. Rows of soldiers march beneath rippling flags and Lucas stares, thrown. What is this? Behind him, a castle wall erupts under cannon fire, defenders screaming orders, "Stop them! Don't let them climb!" While he just stands there, frozen, taking in the chaos. Fire tears across the battlefield and Lucas finally shouts, "What's going on here?" Knights collide in the smoke as the horror of it sinks in. Is this the middle of a war? Then a nearby knight spots him and soldiers drop to their knees, gasping, Majesty." A masked knight rushes up. "Are you all right, Your Highness?" But Lucas flinches back, mistaking him for a threat. Enemy. Nearby, a wounded man screams for space, and a soldier lunges at someone helpless on the ground, blade raised, until Lucas's own sword rings out to stop it. The old soldier collapses to his knees, terrified. "My mistake, Your Highness. Please spare my life." Lucas just blinks, baffled, while the men beside him mutter, "What's wrong with this old man?" He steps in to calm things down. "Hey, sir. First of all, calm down," as a strange vortex of energy churns to life at his feet. Without warning, the battlefield erupts. A blast rips through the line and flings a soldier through the air, smashing him through the wooden barricade. He crashes down, groaning, coughing blood, sprawled beside another wounded fighter in the wreckage. Lucas gapes at the wreckage. Was that a bomb? Before he can process it, a sickly green explosion swallows the ridge, screams tearing through the smoke. What in the? A soldier waves him over, panic in his voice. The enemy stormtroopers are closing the distance fast. Soldiers atop the wall roar, prevent them from climbing up. As blades clash against enemies scaling the wall, one snarls and swings his sword. Lucas's eyes go wide, then a body bursts in a spray of red just past him. He flinches, stunned by how close the kill came. The stricken body flies loose across the ground as a clawed limb lashes out of the chaos, catching a soldier and dropping him mid-step. Lucas's eyes widen again. Moments later, he stands over a fallen fighter drenched in blood, breathing hard, visibly shaken by the carnage around him. Cries of agony erupt as soldiers fall around him, and Lucas is left standing alone in the firelight, dust and embers swirling past. "Just what the heck?" he mutters, staring past the ruined wall. "Is beyond that castle wall?" Something glows red in the smoke, and a huge shape comes pounding closer. Then it reveals itself, a monstrous hulking spider rearing out of the dark, red compound eyes locking onto him. A blinding crimson flash cuts the air. The creature shrieks and lunges, fangs bared, and Lucas recoils in horror. "Spider!" he chokes out, stumbling back from the thing barreling toward him. The stormtrooper got on top. Someone cries as the spider scales the wall itself. A soldier barks orders, sees its movement. Right before the creature's claws rake through in a wild red arc, one soldier stares down at himself in shock. "My body." Another lies motionless, isn't moving. Blood spatters the ground as the assault ends. Close on Lucas's stunned eye, the monster reflected in it. Is this a dream, or am I hallucinating? The spider looms overhead, chittering as the survivors below scream that none of this makes sense. Its claw rears back and Lucas snarls, "Don't fxxk with me." Lucas grips the rampart, staring wide-eyed at the carnage below. Dying like this doesn't make any sense. A voice cuts through the smoke. "Your Highness." Golden hair drifts into view as Lucas freezes, caught somewhere between denial and dread, refusing to accept what's happening to him. A blinding streak of light rips downward as the knight's blade comes down in one clean stroke. The strike detonates against the spider monster in a wall of golden fire, staggering the beast mid-climb and sending soldiers scrambling as the blast tears across the battlements. The knight stands amid the drifting embers, smirking back at Lucas. Isn't that such a boring response? He needles. Lucas can only stammer, huh? Behind them, soldiers spot the prince in panic, crying out, "Majesty, what has happened to you?" as flames chew through the wall. "Were you hurt?" The knight blurts, gripping Lucas by the shoulders. His face jars something loose in Lucas's memory. It feels far too familiar. A name spills out before Lucas can stop it. Lucas. The knight goes still, then breaks into a stunned, relieved grin. After all this time serving as his bodyguard, this is the first time he's heard his own name from him. Lucas stares back, question marks stacking in his head. Is that really the knight's name, or did he just blurt out something insane? Then the real horror lands. If this man is here, if this castle is burning like this, then this place is. His gaze drags past the knight, out over walls eaten by flame. The full scale of the burning fortress spreads out below him, and it clicks. He's standing inside tower defense and dungeon offense, the very game he beat on the hardest difficulty right before waking up here. Lucas's face goes completely blank. He is royally, thoroughly screwed. The creature's jaws gape, dripping venom-green ichor as steel flashes all around him in a blur of slashes and sparks. A cold line surfaces from the game's opening briefing, word for word. This campaign requires him to fight against an absolute swarm of monsters, wave after merciless wave. Explosions rip across the wall behind him as Lucas finally puts it together, half laughing, half panicking. This isn't just a tower defense game. It's a brutally, punishingly hard one, and he's the one who has to survive it. Amid the smoke, Ash's mind reels with one question. Why? As the last of the spider thing's carcass gets blown apart in a series of thunderous green explosions, rubble and debris raining down through the firelit dark. Ash can only ask himself why he's ended up inside this game at all, as soldiers cry out for their crown prince. Beside him, Lucas's fist clenches white-knuckled, while another soldier reports grimly. The horde swarming them right now is the Black Spider Army. With the front base seconds from collapse, Lucas spots their one opening. The Black Spider Army goes still at sunset, and the sun drops in 30 minutes. Blade rasping free, he surges forward with Ash into the firestorm, screams and steel ringing across the field. Lucas plants himself in front of Ash, snarling for him to hold on just a little longer, "Your Highness." Ash can only stare, dazed, wondering why this man is shielding him and who exactly he means by crown prince. As dusk settles, medics rush in. Some of the fallen are still breathing. At last the sun dips low and the Black Spider Army begins pulling back. Standing amid the drifting embers, Ash finally speaks, calm and pointed, turning to his knight. "Lucas, when and where are we right now?" Lucas answers plainly. "The last day of February, year 648, Fortress City, the front base of Crossroad." Ash does the math. Tomorrow is March 1st, year 649. His blood runs cold. This exact date and place is the tutorial opening of Protect the Empire, the game he grinded through hundreds of times. Realization crashes down and Ash blurts it out loud. His name must be Ash. Lucas blinks, startled, then confirms it. Ash Bonehatter Everblack, the third crown prince, the Empire's reviled madman, the commander whose blunders got most of Fortress City's own troops wiped out. Ash can only scream. Why him? Worse yet, Ash Everblack is the one character who meets the single most gruesome death in that entire tutorial. He screams it into the dark. Why is he the one trapped inside this doomed man's skin? The scene falls quiet at the commander's private quarters as night closes in. Lucas rages at Ash for abandoning the safety of Fortress City to reach the front line. But Ash barely hears him. His mind reels, replaying the game he lived for 6 months. Protect the Empire's brutal Hell Sage difficulty locks in every mistake, no do-overs, and Retrotaku is the only person who ever beat it. But this exact tutorial is the one stretch of the game Retrotaku could never crack. It's built to be unbeatable. The story is only meant to start once Lucas escapes the invasion alone, with the Black Spider army not due to appear for another year. Facing hundreds of them now, right at the opening, shouldn't even be possible. Ash shakes himself alert. This is a game he's cleared before. Pull on every scrap of knowledge and experience, and there has to be a way through. Before the thought settles, a mocking voice cuts in, laughing that there's no way out at all. Ash laughs back hollow. He's really in trouble. A status window lays out the horror. Over 1,000 black spiders, some leveled past 60, and the fortress wall's durability near 0. The one asset worth anything is a rare relic, the ancient mana cannon. Ash forces himself calm. Sage mode won't let him reload after a mistake, so every choice has to be the best one, the first time. Ash reaches out, steadying himself on 6 months of grinding this exact game. There is always a master plan buried somewhere, always a way to survive. He just needs an edge, even a small one, something more certain than blind luck. His hand closes tight around the idea taking shape in his head. I'm looking for it, Ash decides and breaks into a run, shouting Lucas's name into the dark. Lucas answers at once, ready to help, and Ash gives the order. Summon the private party right now. Lucas blinks, thrown. Ash has never once called on his private escort troop before. Lucas presses, why summon them now after never once before? Ash waves it off, grinning, no time to explain. He's found a way to break this siege wide open. A beat later, composed and arms crossed in his officer's coat, Ash asks if everyone has arrived. The private party files in, an armored knight, a smaller figure beside him, and a red-haired woman with a bow. Ash studies them, struck by how familiar they look. Lily, the archer. Ken, the knight, gritting his teeth. Then he turns to a hooded figure at the back, uncertain, is that Damien? Ash sits alone, thinking to himself that it's understandable. He's only ever seen soldiers like this in the tutorial's death scenes. Cut to the present. Lily notices the hooded healer, Damien, shaking and curled up in the shadows. She explains gently that Damien just lost a comrade today and asks Ash to understand. Ash recalls that in the game, Damien was debuffed from the very start and always died first, an important healer who barely mattered. Snapping back to the room, he tells the group he'll lay out their roles for tomorrow's fight. First up, Lily, a fire-slinging mage, the party's main damage dealer. Ash orders Lily to be the shield, the main tank soaking up every spider strike. She balks. She's a mage. Next, Ken, whose real skill is tanking aggro on the front line, gets told to sneak into the enemy camp and sow confusion instead. Ken is floored. Every party needs one, Ash says. A sniper. He hands that job to Damien, their actual healer, ordering him to pick off the enemy's key targets. Only Lucas gets his real role, commanding the front line. The troop stares back in stunned silence until a furious fist slams down, demanding to know if this is really the plan. The armored knight explodes, accusing Ash of steering them wrong and demanding he take this seriously. Off to the side, Lucas quietly tells himself that's not really Ash talking, that's some reckless bastard wearing his face. Ash reasons inwardly that an impossible battlefield demands an impossible plan, then locks eyes on Ken, refusing to back down. Ash's eyes blaze as he snaps back, asking Ken if he's really disobeying the son of the Emperor, the supreme commander of this line. Lily, Ken, and Damien all flinch in shock. Ken stammers an apology, trembling, and Ash grips him with a manic grin, warning him he's dealing with a madman now. Lily watches, stunned, as Ash bears down on Ken. Internally, Ash admits his plan is reckless and impossible, exactly why he needs them following orders without a single complaint. Ken sags, beaten down. A jolt of impact ripples through the room, and Lily and Ken gasp while Damien flinches, badly shaken. Lily grips her staff, trembling, terrified. Down a dim corridor, cries of fear echo out. Ash tells them plainly, they were each chosen because they have the ability to do this job. That's exactly why, wearing the body of a madman, he's decided to lean into the madness and be crazier still. The troops' grumbling boils over. The prince is a lunatic, they mutter, one who doesn't grasp how precious a sorcerer's power is, one nobody can trust on the front line. Then fire flares up out of nowhere, and Lucas jerks back, stunned. Lucas gasps at the flame. Ash just smiles. Yeah, this is it. A narration box explains it plainly. Every tutorial character hides a specialty that contradicts their surface role. Ash turns to Lily and asks if she was cut by sharp metal as a child. She confirms it, quietly. A goblin mob had torn through her village. The memory crashes over Lily and flame erupts around her. The system flags it. Fiery skin, born from her fear of blades, turns her body to fire to shrug off physical attacks, burning her MP with every use. Ash tells her she can dodge anything as long as the MP holds. Tearful, she asks, "Am I wrong?" A striker with a tank's durability, something the game's own rules would never allow. Ash decides then and there to lean fully into it. An impossible stage demands an impossible answer, he figures, so why not cheat? Grinning like a man with nothing left to lose, he snarls a promise at whoever trapped him in this game. He'll clear this bullshit stage, then grab them by the collar and make them pay. Ash apologizes to Lily for proving his point so harshly. She's shaken that he knew about her family at all, but he waves it off as unimportant now. He turns to Ken next, revealing he grew up thieving in the slums to feed his family before ever becoming a knight. Ken sputters, "Ho, how did you know?" Ash says the past doesn't matter, only what Ken can do with it. The system confirms, survival of a thief, letting him vanish from notice when in danger at the cost of heavy HP. When Ken hesitates to admit it, Ash draws steel to prove the point again and Ken breaks, shouting he can do it. "Good," Ash says, "then you'll do as I order." Last comes Damien. Ash calls him the single most important piece of the whole plan, noting his ridiculously sharp eyes. Good enough, Ash says, that Damien must still see it perfectly. The exact moment his friend died. Damien cracks. The friend was from his hometown orphanage, the boy who threw himself into the battle to save him. Grief-stricken, he screams at Ash, demanding to know why he dragged them all here, what possible goal was worth it. Ash just stares back cold and asks if he expected some noble reason. Damien screams at Ash, fists locked onto his collar, "Give him back, give me back, ban my friend." Ash stands silent, letting the fury land. A lone sunflower glows against the dark, a flash of what Damien lost. Ash finally meets his eyes. "Resent me," he says. "Loathe me if you need to." Ash doesn't flinch. "Your friend died saving you," he says. "Are you really going to sit here and wait to die? Just because a trash commander called you dead weight? You have to struggle. You need revenge. Kill that spider, get out of here alive, and then come take your revenge on me. Ash asks it flat, Damien, do you want to kill those fucking spiders? Yes, Damien answers. Then do you want to kill me too? Damien goes silent behind his glasses, then breathes out a shaky yes. The party looks on, stunned. Ash's mouth curls into a satisfied grin. Good. Lucas grins through the tension and swears it. Get us out alive, and one day I'll kill you myself. The others gape, Your Highness. Ash meets it head on. If this plan fails, they all die anyway, but even then he'll make sure to die by their hands. As Imperial family, that's his word, so just for tomorrow, follow his orders. Ash's thoughts lay the plan bare. If he has to, he'll burn their hatred as fuel, even hatred aimed straight at him. Turning to the group, he owns it outright. His misjudgment brought them to the edge of total wipeout. But if they stick to his plan, they can drive the spiders out. It looks hopeless. They will still win. Just this once, Ash asks, will you trust me? Will you follow me? Inside, he counts his cards as finally set. Each face holds a beat in turn, Lily, Ken, Damien, Lucas. The whole party's answer hanging in the balance, whether this hand turns out a total bust or a royal flush. War horns crash across the battlefield as the army braces on the wall. It's time to go all in. The alert screams out, the Black Spider army is coming, the monsters are coming. Soldiers lock a glowing barrier into place. One asks, shaking, if Ash will really be okay. Just do as I tell you, he snaps back. Yes, sir. The spider horde floods down the ridge in a black wave. Ash lays out the plan in his head. While the party holds the line and buys time, he'll hunt down the queen commanding every spider. After that, soldiers roar the order to kill, and a massive mana cannon fires, aiming to blow the queen's head clean off. Ash lays it out. They flooded the restraint with mana enough to floor even the queen herself. The catch? She commands from somewhere the naked eye can't reach. Is this plan even possible? Then his grin cuts through the rain. Map building, he says. Retrotaku's answer comes back certain. Yes, it is. Blue light unfurls across the battlefield as the map creation skill kicks in, tracing out fortress, hills, and river into a glowing minimap. Ash's own stat window flickers up beside it, strength, stamina, agility, intelligence, all sitting at a pitiful one. Still, he's just relieved the skills survived at all. Ash scans the glowing map for the one thing that matters, the boss's mark. It isn't there. The Queen's signal, the entire reason for this operation, simply doesn't register. His face goes cold. It doesn't show on the map at all. Ash presses scavenged mana potions into Lucas's hands, ordering him out to draw the swarm's attention. Can he pull it off? Then he turns to Lily, hating to ask, and trusting her with sealing the core entrance using her fiery skin if the spiders break through. Lucas roars the call. Into formation. Steel meets the swarm along the walls as Lucas bellows over the din. Endure it, this only ends when His Highness brings down the Queen. Below, the ranks read Ash's set jaw as their cue. Blade raised, he gives the order army, but one soldier hesitates. Wait. Guys, I'm still not. Cannon fire rips into the horde as flame swallows the walls. Amid the blasts, Ash forces himself to think it through. The tutorial was never really about killing the boss, so the Queen's missing mark must mean something's off. Even a full assault needs a guarded rear, and this one's locked down tight. His verdict: she isn't back there. Ash spots a spike on the map and shouts for Damien, who startles at being singled out. Ash points across the field. Can those sharp eyes make it out? They can. Dormant spiders just as feared. Pushed to find the queen among them, Damien's stare locks onto a shape with a spider's body and a human torso. Ash grins. Found you. Ash praises the reed. Nothing to fear, he says. The cannon will do the rest. He orders the crew to swing the barrels southwest for a precise shot, and the gunner confirms the mana's loaded and ready to fire. But when Ash turns to bring Damien into the aim, Damien falters, hands trembling. He has no confidence. He's never done this before. Ash steadies Damien, promising that any failure lands on him alone. The soldiers just follow orders, so all Damien has to do is pull the trigger, for band's sake. Damien breathes it in, murmuring about avenging his friend, and his eyes flash as his hidden clairvoyance trait ignites. Ash gives the quiet go-ahead, and the great cannon grinds to life, gears churning as blue energy coils into the barrel. A roar to crush them tears through the ranks, and the charge screams loose in a blinding blue arc toward the swarm. The strike detonates into a towering fireball, and Lucas whoops that it's a direct hit, dead center of the monsters. Soldiers hail Damien as a natural, but Damien only mutters, dazed, that the moment he touched the cannon his body moved on its own. Damien's secret surfaces, his hidden trait, clairvoyance, guarantees any shot lands true, letting him fight a battle he insists he can't hold a weapon for. Relieved, he confirms the hit worked. Ash struts, congratulating his own genius, until his grin falters and a soldier gasps that the spiders are moving, wrong and fast. A soldier spots a cluster of spiders rallying beyond the smoke, all moving at once. Ash goes rigid, watching the swarm lock into what looks like a shield formation, green eyes glinting in ranks. Then something monstrous rears up screaming, blazing red eyes tearing through the haze as the assault slams into the wall. Panic spreads. The spiders aren't converging on the queen the way they should. They're peeling off toward the core instead. A scout confirms the nightmare. The whole horde is rushing the core position. Ash snarls, stunned that for once the queen's orders are outrunning his own. Out past the walls, Lucas curses, down to his last potion as the swarm closes in through the trees. Alone and shaking, he wonders if he should just bolt. Then a shriek splits the dark and he spins, sword raised, demanding to know who's there as a figure steps out of the woods. The forest holds still around Lucas as the rustling closes in, footsteps needling toward him through the roots. Back at the wall, the cannon roars again, a direct hit, this time on the queen herself. Still the horde doesn't slow, and Ash grits out that the bastards are still moving. Ash grits his teeth. The queen barely flinched and doubt creeps in. Is her individual power different? Does she carry some hidden gimmick, some unkillable status the system itself can't measure? Behind him, the great cannon crackles back to life, charging for another shot. An officer delivers gutting news. The cannon's frame is cracked, and only 3 shots remain of the original 5. Ash's face falls. 3 shots won't be enough to bring down the queen. Behind his glasses, Damien's clairvoyance-marked eyes flicker, and the question hangs. Can he hold out that long? The central wall is holding for now until word tears through the ranks. The demolisher is coming. A monstrous colossus plunges from the sky, and someone gasps there was nothing like this in the game. Ash roars for every gun to focus fire on it. The blasts connect. Nothing works. The demolisher smashes down onto the wall in a shockwave of dust and debris. Lucas rallies the shaken defenders. Pull out your weapons. We're heading down to the first floor. The core will hold the line below while the cannon crew keeps its aim locked on the queen. Ash roars the priority. They have to kill the queen. The cannon finishes loading and Damien's 3rd shot screams out, exploding dead on target. For one heartbeat it looks decisive, then the report comes back. She's still healthy. Ash screams for an immediate reload. There's no time to waste. The wall dissolves into close combat as Lucas and the Corps throw themselves between the enemy and Ash. One soldier goes down, then another, the death count ticking upward with every scream. Ash watches the tally climb and freezes, hollowed out. He didn't know it was like this. Ash closes the status screen, shaken to his core. This isn't a game, it's a place where people actually live and die, and death isn't a number but real screaming and smoke. A voice orders everyone to hold together and cool off, admitting the cannon can't even manage a fourth shot. Ash asks himself desperately what could turn this around. Ash comes up empty, no answer in sight, when a raw, furious scream cuts through the chaos. A lone fighter charges the horde alone, howling for the monsters to look at him. Ash's eyes widen in recognition. Ken. The Empire's knight hurls himself into the swarm, dragging its fury away from everyone else. Ken tears across the field alone, waving the horde toward himself and screaming, "Find me if you can," with a reckless grin. A green surge ignites, his survival method of a petty thief trait activating. But the system flashes a warning. His HP is too low, the trait is about to cut out. Ash, watching, screams his name in horror. In the smoke and dark, another soldier's face flinches, a gasped ah, then a bitter last thought. I shouldn't have trusted, before red slashes tear across the frame and a scream cuts short. A grim counter ticks down, -1. Just another name folded into the rising toll. Ash hears it clearly now, the wet, gruesome sounds of death carrying across the field. His own bad call, he realizes, just cost someone their life. Word comes back. Ken has dragged the defense line forward, screaming not to yield a single step. But Ash's stomach drops further. It isn't just Ken bleeding for this. Everyone out there is dying because of orders he gave. Ash thinks, I'm killing them all. No, worse, I already was. He flashes back to gaming this world from a screen, feeding soldiers in as bait whenever a run demanded it, clicking yes to sacrifice a whole party without a second thought. To save someone, grab loot, clear a quest, someone always died, and he pulled the trigger without question. Only now does it land. Stop, Ash whispers, then explodes. I said stop, you fucking monsters. Every death out there is agony he can't unfeel. He screams for it to end, but the horde doesn't listen. Ken says it plainly. Monsters won't stop for screaming. Then a burst of light rips through. A guard rounds on whatever just lunged at Ash, roaring, "How dare you try to attack His Highness?" Lucas whirls to check on him. "Are you okay, Your Highness?" Ash manages a shaky "yeah." Steeling himself, he lands on the only truth left. There's one way to stop a monster: kill it before it kills you. A soldier rushes up. The fourth shot is loaded, but the barrel's past its limit. Ash turns to Damien. Can they still fire it? Damien grits out a yes and fires. The fourth shot rips loose in a blinding column of light, screaming straight for the Spider Queen. It slams home, a direct hit square on her head, the impact swallowing the battlefield in white. The blast detonates dead on the Queen's skull. But when the smoke clears, she's still standing, screeching, unbothered, very much alive. Lucas stares at his shaking hand. Their attacks just aren't working. Damien delivers the worst news: the barrel's maxed out. One more shot and the whole cannon blows apart. Ash stares out at the collapsing wall, and for one raw second he almost lets the despair win. Giving up would be so easy. The cannon groans, ready to blow. The defense line breaks completely, bodies falling, and even the gunner can't bear to watch. Is this really it? Is there truly no hope left? Ken refuses to accept it. The killing blow did land, he swears. The queen's armor has actually cracked and fallen away. A young soldier, still loyal to his post even now, spots the opening and charges, screaming they can finish her with one more strike, and detonates his attack point blank in a blinding green blast. A soldier's scream tears through the smoke, "Your Highness," as Ash himself dives straight into the queen, red cape flashing against her writhing black mass. The ground shatters beneath them. Everything the Corps fought for, every scrap of hope, crumbles into darkness, and the last thing anyone hears is his name. Light floods back. Ash's eyes snap open to rubble and silence. Then he spots Lucas, his night bodyguard, broken and bleeding nearby. Lucas manages to ask if Ash is hurt anywhere first. Ash insists it's the other way around. Then Lucas, dazed, asks if he remembers what happened 10 years ago. Ash can't answer, he's just a streamer wearing this prince's body, with none of Ash's real memories. But Lucas remembers everything. The day young Ash told him he'd never be emperor, only the greatest man alive, and made Lucas swear to become the greatest knight. Kneeling now, bloodied, Lucas whispers, "I believe in you. Even now, after everything?" Ash asks, stunned. Lucas answers without hesitation, wherever, whenever, before his body finally gives out and he crumples into the wreckage. Ash scrambles to him through the rubble, gripping him, begging him to hang on, calling him what he is, the hero, this whole world's savior. Ash forces himself to focus first, take stock. They're buried beneath the fort. He has no idea how long he was out. Turning through the wreckage, he finds Damien and the gunner crew alive, wounded but breathing, only the cannon itself destroyed. Relief turns to dread. If they survived, what happened to the spiders? A voice cuts through his fear. It isn't over yet. Ash turns to find the spider swarm shrieking, consumed in roaring green flame. The fire draws back into a horned woman wrapped in fire, her eyes finally opening as she murmurs, almost uncertain, "Right." Meanwhile, at a different collapsing gate, fire flares open like an eye-snapping alert. A hand claws up through the rubble, and Lily, a flame-wreathed fighter holding the entrance alone, stands lit by living fire. She gasps she can't hold much longer, that she can only buy time. The ground quakes. The monsters are about to break through these walls. A burning figure sprints past, screaming to hurry. "Do not make our deaths worth nothing," Lily vows through the flames. Cut hard to the cannon camp. Damien clenches his jaw, furious. Ash orders the artilleryman to stand and load the last shell. A soldier protests, "Your Highness, the cannon's already past its limit, and the moment they fire, it will explode." Ash reasons it through. Do nothing and they die under the spider's legs anyway, so better to gamble everything on one shot, even if it burns them alive. But how will Damien aim? They can't see outside, can't spot the queen, and the cannon stand is already gone, broken in the dirt. Ash's answer, "Hold it in your hands. No teeth, chew with your gums." "There's no need to aim," Ash says. Damien just needs to shoot. He orders the last shell loaded, and the knight silently accepts. Ash doesn't understand how Damien's clairvoyance works, only that if Damien pulls the trigger, the shot corrects itself. Trusting that, he turns to a trembling Damien, just once more. Ash begs him to push through one more time. Damien only stares back hollow-eyed. "Your Highness," he says, "what meaning is there in any of this? No matter what he does, nothing changes." Ash insists, "Hit the queen once more and the monster dies." Damien cuts him off. Say he fires again, say the queen actually dies. Then what changes? Damien breaks down. No matter how hard he tries, the world always takes from him. He wants to stop living like this, to go back to Ash, cuts him off with a roar of his name, then demands it straight. Does Damien think this world is unreasonable, that even beating this nightmare just means more hell waiting? Damien admits it. Yes. Then stop stating the obvious, dumbass, Ash snaps back. If this world had a difficulty setting, it's hell mode, sage mode, no saves and no reloads. It was never a game, it's been hell from the start. Nothing's fair, nothing goes his way, Ash shouts, staring down the ruined horizon around them. Then he asks Damien straight, is he done fighting? So what? Ash presses, just going to sit and wait to die. Damien's eye narrows. No, they fight until the moment they die, no matter what. He stands, vowing he'll keep struggling, keep strategizing to his very last breath. Ash, satisfied, shoves a sword at him. If he wants to quit that badly, he can stab his own throat right now. Ash locks his grip around Damien's knife hand before the blade can turn inward. Stop chasing your dead friend, he snarls. The only thing Damien needs is Ash as his commander. Don't die for some trivial reason. You're my chess piece, my key, my trigger. That's all you need to be. A notification flashes. Ash has unlocked a new passive skill, the Indomitable Commander. He gives the order, blast that monster's face, my trigger. Damien kneels, salutes, and answers through the haze. Yes, Your Highness, I will follow your command. The last shell drops into the cannon. Lucas warns there's no way to cool the scorched barrel, but Ash cuts him off with one word, move, and grips the white-hot metal bare-handed to hold it steady. A burn beats falling into the flames below, he says, then asks, are you ready, Damien? Damien admits he can't see, can't feel his hands anymore. Ash only answers, that's okay. It's okay, Damien. Something snaps loose in him. His face twists into a wild, gritted grin as the cannon roars to life. Soldiers cry out to help Ash, whose blistered hand stays welded to the burning barrel. Around them the line buckles as the men scream and brace against the surging horde. Down in the smoke and firelight, a fanged shape rises, eyes burning red. Ash's voice cracks the air, Damien, snapping him back from the edge. Blood streaks his gritted jaw as the word shoot tears across the scene. His finger clicks the trigger and blue light erupts around his eyes, clairvoyance flaring to full power. The cannon erupts in a blinding blue blast, punching a beam clean over the ruined fort. Hit it, someone breathes twice, like a prayer as something distant shrieks in pain. Ash watches, jaw tight, thinking only, this shot was never supposed to be possible. By every law of this battlefield, a shell fired blind from the bottom of a fallen fort should never find its mark. There's no way this shot connects. And yet it does. The round rockets on, ignoring the elevation, ignoring distance, driving straight for the queen spider herself. The shell ignores the distance. It ignores the hundreds of thousands of monsters crowding its path, tearing forward like fate already decided the outcome, screaming straight toward the queen spider as she shrieks in rage and fear. It lands square on the queen's head without a single imperfection, and the blast cleanly tears her head clean off her body. One impossible shot, one kill. A memory surfaces, a viewer's message, hi young. Dude, you're actually insane, how'd you beat that? The very first comment Ash ever got as a streamer, and he still doesn't know how he answered. The memory snaps off in a sudden pained scream. Ash jolts awake asking if he's actually alive, bandaged and sore in a bed. Lily tells him he slept 4 days straight. Damien's healing magic kept him going, but the burn runs too deep to close fully yet. Lily admits she thought he'd never wake up after all that to beat the Black Spider army. Ash manages only, I survived, crediting her command. The last bombardment killed the queen and the spider army stopped cold. We've won, Your Highness. Support troops move across the ruined field, recovering the fallen and finishing off the last stunned spiders. Lily reports the cleanup is basically done, then warns Ash that his burns are severe enough that going back to Crossroad means a mandatory trip to the church. Told scars will remain even after full healing, Ash shrugs it off. A scar's a far cheaper price than a life. He asks after Lily instead, and she reveals a spider clawed her back when her mana ran out. The queen died before it could finish her, but nerve damage has left her lower body numb and unmoving. Lily brushes it off, grateful just to be breathing. She counts the survivors. 5 gunners, Lucas, Damien, herself, and Ash, 9 people, down from a few hundred last time. Ash's face darkens as she asks aloud whether some better tactic could have saved more. A single question gnaws at Ash. Couldn't he have saved even one more life? Lily sits at his bedside, gently insisting he isn't a god, that there was no way to save everyone, that he did all he could. But inside, Ash can't accept it. He's the one who dragged these soldiers into war, and wearing this body means the weight is his to carry. A memory surfaces. No one alive had seen monsters move in hordes like this in decades, so no one could have stopped Ash's campaign in time. Lily tells him not to be so hard on himself. Then Lucas bursts in shouting, crying with relief that Ash is finally awake. Ash waves off the fuss, insisting he's fine. Lucas asks if Damien's wounds are really all right to walk on. Damien just grins, being tough is his whole thing, and Lucas ribs him for holding 5-star knight status. Turning serious, Damien reports the manifest of the dead is finished, though many bodies were never recovered. What remains sits at the north plains of the forward base. Ash decides to go see them himself. Attendants scramble to stop Ash from leaving his sick, insisting he needs more time to heal. His mind keeps circling one detail. Word says Damien healed the wounded despite being blind. Cut to Damien himself, grinning through the fuss around him. Ash finds him and gives thanks. The strategy worked because of him, then offers him a fortune and a permanent way off any battlefield. Ash tells him plainly, as a mercenary, he's free to walk away and live however he wants. Damien says nothing at first. Then he turns back with a question that won't let go. He needs to know where the monster horde came from, who made them and why a soldier named Ban had to die for it. Damien pushes further, let him follow the path behind Ash from here on. Ash agrees without hesitation. Then follow me from now on. The story turns solemn as a priest is brought to honor the dead, and blue flame rises over the assembled fallen while Ash closes his eyes and answers quietly, "I know." Ash reasons with himself. There was no better strategy that day, and chasing what-ifs from the past is foolish. He chose a tactic and carried it out. The rows of coffins before him are the result, and he has to bear that weight to keep moving forward. As the informal funeral ends, he orders every remain recovered and transferred. They carry the fallen to the Crossroad, a place where thousands die every year and funerals cost more than the lives themselves. Ash points to an empty field on its western edge. Bury them there and build a cemetery like the memorial he raised in the game. Every year, the last day of February will honor their sacrifice. Lucas accepts the order, but Ash's mind lingers. It wasn't just them. Ash relives every reset he's ever pulled in this game, every nameless character he's killed without a second thought, and calls this grief his own atonement too. Blue flame flares behind him as Lucas grips his blade, jaw tight, and swears through gritted teeth, "I will not fail twice." "Let's go back," Ash calls, and he and Lucas turn from the battlefield as banners snap behind the marching survivors, headed for their headquarters at the Crossroad. The system flashes across the sky. Stage 0 clear, rewards granted, check your inventory. 3 days out from the tutorial grounds, the convoy rolls north toward the main camp. Ash slumps in the wagon, groaning that he's bored enough to die. Lucas keeps asking if they are close. The driver just promises they'll arrive soon. A little more patience, Your Highness. Ash's mind drifts back to the moment occupation selection unlocked at level 5. His stats spiking to numbers that make no sense for how broken his character is. The system shows he can pick any class in the game, except one buried at the very bottom of the list, still unclaimed. The name reveals itself. Beginner Commander, a class he's never seen before. Its passive, the Indomitable Commander, shields every ally within 40 meters from insanity magic. Good skill, Ash admits, but useless right now since that magic doesn't even exist yet, and he's picking blind. Back in the jolting wagon, a knock breaks Ash's thoughts. They've sighted the Crossroad. His head snaps up. Gates loom ahead onto the fortress built to hold back the monsters pouring endlessly from the southern Black Lands, once the Empire's most vital stronghold. As the monster incursions thinned, the Empire pulled its real soldiers out and filled the walls with mercenaries instead, washed-up fighters, aging veterans, green recruits hired with no questions asked, just a cheap meat shield. Inns and shops crept in, and over decades the fortress sprawled into a lawless little city. People stopped calling it a fortress at all. Now it's Monster Battlefront Fortress City, though mercenaries who chase the coin and die for it gave it a crueler name. Suicide Street, the City of Graves. Ash steps out and takes it in, bigger than expected and far more rundown. Ash rides into the city, quietly asking himself if this is really the place he's now responsible for. The convoy rolls through worn, half-abandoned streets, Lucas riding beside him in full armor. Townsfolk stare back with open hostility. The truth lands hard. Their brand new lord just got every militiaman killed and barely limped home himself. Ash reveals he came prepared, unveiling a cart stacked with over 400 magic gems harvested from the dead spiders. Top-tier loot worth a fortune. Enough, he figures, to erase the city's money troubles outright. Fair payoff, he reasons, for clearing a stage everyone called unbeatable, and his opening move to win the townsfolk over. With the residents' trust sitting below 0, Ash doesn't panic. He already knows the fix. He floods the crowd with coin, gold raining down as wary faces melt into open adoration. Steeling himself, he grins and declares, in the calmest voice he can manage, that he's about to buy every one of their hearts. The carriage stops. Lucas announces they've arrived, and Ash climbs out to praise his night's work. Ahead looms the Crossroad Lord's Manor, a sprawling estate that stops Ash cold. Staring up at his new home, he lets out a stunned shout, nothing like the place he used to live. A robed servant comes sprinting out sobbing with relief, clutching at Ash and gushing over how worried he'd been. Startled, Ash tries to address him properly, but the man insists Ash call him Lord instead, weeping and squeezing his hand. This over-the-top devotion belongs to Ader, the steward who runs the city's day-to-day administration. Ash decides on the spot that Ader is exactly who he needs running things here. Ader throws the doors open with a cheerful welcome home, promising a hot bath and dinner already waiting. He sends the soldiers off to rest and shuts down Lucas's protest about staying on duty, ordering the worn-out knight to sleep too. Alone in his room, Ash sinks into a steaming bath while Ader promises the warm water will wash away the travel grime and the blood. Ash can't even recall his last real bath, and admits to himself just how wrecked the journey left him. He thanks Ader and tells him to rest too, then pauses. By the way, Ash starts to tell Ader how impressive he really was, and the scene cuts sharp. A grinning face half swallowed in shadow, one eye a blank white glow, purrs out a single word. Retrotaku. Ash whips around, sweat beading on his face, a silent figure with glowing white eyes looming right behind him. The steward at Ash's side just spoke a name only Retrotaku should know. Ader turns with a knowing smile. Who knew you'd clear the tutorial that fast? Beyond my imagination, he admits. Ash's shock snaps into rage. He decks Ader with one punch, sending him sprawling. This punk is the director. Ash hauls Ader up by the collar, demanding to know if he's the one who dragged him into this body. Ader begs him to calm down, sobbing apology after apology for the sudden kidnapping. Ash's fury cracks into something heavier. This world, Ader insists, needed Retrotaku. Ader straightens and gives his true name, Director Mr. A creator of this game world. Ash spits back his contempt for the man behind such a miserable game. Mr. Explains he's reset this world's timeline over and over, chasing one true ending nobody has ever reached, not even him. Mr. Reveals he broadcast this world to players back on Earth, hoping one of them could crack the true ending, and every single one failed. Only Ash, playing as Retrotaku, ever cleared the brutal Hell Sage mode, which is why Mr. chose him. Ash roars back. This wasn't a choice, it was a kidnapping. Mr. Admits stuffing Ash's mind into this body wasn't even planned, just a bug he lucked into. Ash reels, but Mr. Presses the real offer. Reach the true ending and he'll grant one wish, godlike power that can send Ash home loaded with cash, starting at 1,000,000,001. The number keeps climbing, 10 billion, 100 billion, however much Ash wants. He sees through the bribe, but the temptation is real. There's plenty he still wants for himself. Then a voice echoes in memory, "Hi, young." And his eyes go still as Mr. Presses. Isn't there a wish worth more than money? It clicks for Ash. This self-proclaimed god sought him out specifically because he already knows the regret buried in his heart. Mr. Vows to make that old dream real. Ash asks why he can't just fix it himself. Restrictions on my power here, Mr. Claims in this world I'm only human. Then Ash asks the only question that matters. What happens if I die here? The answer lands cold. You just die, no save, no load, the same rule Ash beat this game under before, and death was never reversible. Then the twist, Mr. Offers to send him home to Earth right now, ending or no ending. Really, Ash asks, stunned. Choose, Mr. Says chase the true ending for your wish, or Mr. Stretches out a hand, calling this Ash's decision alone. Walk away to safety or push on toward the true ending. Ash almost turns back until two things stop him, the pull of his real wish and cold confidence. He beat this game in Hell Sage mode. He knows its guts already. He snaps. Fine. Ash commits. I'll do it. Mr. Lights up, delighted, promising to work like a servant for him. Instantly the mood flips. Mr. Shoves a task on him. Sell every black spider gem by morning. Ash balks, but Mr. Snarls him down, demanding the gold be ready before office hours, no excuses. Ash stares at his empty roster, no party, no allies. Heh, he mutters, obviously it's time to gotcha. He and Lucas walk up to the Crossroads mercenary guild. Flipping a coin in his fist, Ash decides to start light. About 100 pulls ought to do it. Red Cape soldiers stand guard along the city walls as Ash and Lucas arrive at the guild's gate. Someone steps ahead. Your Highness, I will enter first. and a voice bellows, "Attention, everyone." Through the hall, Ash mutters that they are energetic. Then, without warning, the scene cuts to a smoldering, ash-choked battlefield. A hulking mercenary roars, "Who the hell are you? Do you want to die?" It's Ash's side that answers, throat gripped, "I'm your future employer. Do you want to die instead?" The crowd hushes, whispering the third prince's name and the men he supposedly killed. Ash scans the room instead. Is there anyone sparkly? This guild, we learn, is where he pulls new recruits ranked into SSR. Anyway, Ash mutters, "Is there anyone good?" Then his eye catches something, a napping mercenary sprawled and snoring. The figure stirs awake, metals glinting, eye patched, and rises with a grand greeting. "Welcome to the Crossroads Continental Mercenary Guild, Your Highness." Ash's jaw drops, an SSR-ranked pull, right here, sleeping it off. The mercenary bows, "My name is Jupiter." Ash's mind races, an SSR-ranked lightning sorcerer, already sitting in a guild this small. He recognizes the old uniform, Everblack Empire, a design decades out of date. Jupiter confirms he served 30 years, once captaining the 2nd Sorcerer Squadron before retiring into mercenary work. Ash needles him about sacrificing for the crown even after retirement, a model soldier. Jupiter waves it off. Retirement money alone doesn't cut it. Asked why he's really here, Ash says it plainly, hiring useful mercenaries. Jupiter's eye narrows. "Sure you're not here to buy bait that'll die in your place?" Lucas bristles, but Ash waves him down. Jupiter notes rumors of the front line have already spread this far. The gathered mercenaries push back hard, telling Ash that no one here wants to throw their life away for a green commander. Ash just listens, then turns it around on them. "Aren't you all here to sell your lives anyway? Isn't that exactly why every one of you ended up here?" A grizzled, eye-patched veteran snaps back, calling the crowd fools who dig their own graves. Ash cuts her down instantly, exposing her record. Fired for stealing military funds, dishonorably discharged for smuggling with the enemy, still shameless enough to wear the uniform. He calls her the incarnation of corruption. The narration reveals who she really is. Jupiter, a dishonorably dismissed veteran, corrupt to the core, but a combatant whose ability is speechless, more pirate than soldier. Jupiter warns Ash to watch his words, still clinging to her pride as a soldier of the Empire. Ash presses her, "How much would you sell that pride for?" Jupiter names her price, 200,000 Adels a year, calling herself an expensive woman despite how she looks. Ash doesn't blink. He doubles it to 400,000 on the spot, backing it up by reminding her he's the Empire's prince and this city's lord who just sold 400 magic gems. For an SR ranker, he says, he'd pay any price. Ash seals it, buying out her fear of death and vowing to pay twice her old salary immediately. Turning to the whole crowd, he warns cowards to go home, then dares any true mercenary chasing big money to meet him at the empty field west of Crossroad that evening. Next, he heads to the church. Inside, a healer finishes patching Ash up, warning him a faint scar will remain. He thanks her, Saintess Margarita, a hidden B-ranked heroine and top healer, whom he notes he can only recruit later once a specific condition is met. He tells her that's not why he came, and instead has her gather everyone in the church who's currently free, including a man named Damien. Ash agrees they've got a full day ahead of them, and it won't be easy. Then the story jumps to that evening, west of Crossroad, where a solemn procession of coffins arrives from the frontline base, Empire flags draped over each one, soldiers standing in careful formation as a large-scale choir waits. In a city where death is cheap, this proper funeral stuns everyone. especially once compensation money reaches the grieving families and the news spreads fast through the town. Ash admits to himself it's a calculated show, then stands before a banner declaring the front line a noble mission, announcing himself as the third prince and new lord, Ash Bonehatter Everblack. The crowd mutters as they size up their new lord. That's the crazy prince. He looks like a jerk. Ash Bonehatter Everblack, the tutorial commander now ruling Crossroad, lets the murmurs land. Then his jaw sets and he speaks plainly. If the fighting on the front lines keeps going like this, everyone here will die. Ash declares himself in full, third prince, newly appointed Lord Ash Bonehatter Everblack. The crowd stares back, unreadable. Somewhere among them, shadowed eyes narrow, so you came. Ash presses on with his grim warning, then adds a promise. New graves will fill this cemetery every week, the choir's morning song echoing again and again, but he guarantees one thing. A soldier scoffs dying costs the Lord more than surviving would. He's not wrong. Funeral rites and compensation payouts have already eaten nearly half the gold from the Black Spider gem sales. Ash stands alone at a gravestone, resolved death can't stay cheap. Turning to a mercenary nearby, he vows to keep everyone alive. Spend whatever it takes, so don't die easily. Live and collect your pay. Rifles snap upright in salute as Ash's speech ends. Walking off, he wonders what the civilians make of it, an unworthy commander's excuse or a lunatic lord's reckless spending spree. He shrugs it off. Only results will prove him right, and on this monster-plagued front, no one's more fit to lead than he is. Then he grins. Shall we go destroy Stage 1? A system window snaps into view. Stage 1, 3 days and 1 hour until it begins, the countdown ticking from 73:08. That night, once the funeral is done, Ash slips into the mansion's backyard with Lucas. A prompt flashes, activate the teleport gate. He doesn't hesitate. Of course it's yes. Ice shards and crackling energy churn as the gate tears open, a swirling blue vortex splitting the night. Ash and Lucas step through it together. On the other side, Lucas asks what this place is. Ash tells him plainly, a gate straight down into the dungeon beneath the lake, a free pass into the enemy's own main base. The system peels back the game's own rulebook. Protect the Empire fuses 2 genres, printed right on its cover, tower defense and dungeon offense. When monsters storm Crossroad, that's tower defense. In the lull between waves, exploring the dungeon under the lake to hunt the monster's source is free exploration. Attack and defense, traded back and forth. That's this game's whole structure. So the gate can open before Stage 1 even starts. It's brutal, Ash admits, but not unbeatable. He struggled through the tutorial, sure, but he's off to a strong start. A near-cheat ally in Damien, a wide-range SR attacker in Jupiter, and a fat stockpile of gold behind him. He tells Lucas they're just scouting the enemy for the next stage. Lucas snaps a crisp salute. I am completely prepared, Your Highness. No questions, no hesitation. Ash stares, thrown. His knight just watched him overturn everything overnight and knows about the hidden dungeon under the city, yet follows without blinking. Isn't that weird? Ash wonders, then calls out, hey. Lucas answers at once. Yes, Your Highness. Don't you have something to ask me? Ash presses. Lucas falters, Your Highness, I. Then straightens and recites. He only follows orders, no questions asked. He is Ash's sword and shield, slashing and blocking exactly as commanded. Ash isn't buying it. There's no way the man doesn't have questions. Ash realizes Lucas's blind loyalty just beat out every suspicion he's got. You bastard. I'll get you a fat bonus later. The hidden gate flares open behind them, ready to enter the mouth of hell. Lucas swears he'd follow Ash to the bottom of it. A destination menu blinks awake, the lakeside and locked zones beyond it. Light swallows them as the system loads, now loading, teleporting. A tip window pops up mid-transit, rambling about gear and blacksmith shops, and Ash snaps at it to stop acting like a friendly game all of a sudden. The glow fades. He and Lucas step out on a dark grass at the water's edge. "We're here," Ash says, staring out at the still black lake, the source of every monster plaguing his city, a nightmare dungeon crouched at the edge of the world. Lucas calls out, "Your Highness," and Damien, the ally beside him, points over there. As the water begins to churn and rise, glowing figures wrench themselves up out of the lake, rank after rank of shining blue armor, hollow and moving on their own. Ash recoils, "Fuck, don't tell me." Realizing what's crawling out at him, living armor, his face twists. Of everything that could have surfaced tonight, it had to be these bastards. It wouldn't have mattered which monster got assigned here, Ash thinks. Goblins, fine. Mermaids, fine. Even wyverns he could stomach. But out of every low-level threat in this game, this is the one he actually wanted to dodge. He curses his luck in this goddamn game as Lucas grimly confirms. Those must be exactly what they are up against. The system flashes, new enemy information updated. A status window resolves, one unidentified high-level threat and living armor at level 5, charging 1,052 strong. 1,000. Ash chokes out, blood draining from his face. Lucas asks if he's sick. Ash just mutters his name, remembering he said this exact thing back in the tutorial, and groans. He's fucked again. Out of the crushing black, ghost light flares to life. Jagged spectral blades and half-formed plates of armor drifting like smoke. Cold blue fire burning where a body should be. It's the exact nightmare Ash Bonehatter Everblack has been dreading. Terrible, Ash mutters 741 times. That's how many times he's reset this game, and every single time living armor showed up as the stage 1 monster, he wiped the board without looking back. The armor's just a shell. The real threat is the specter inside, and it shrugs off physical attacks completely. Gear helps eventually. Right now, he's got none of it. If it weren't for these things, God admit. Ash grinds his teeth, certain now this can't be coincidence. It feels like someone is deliberately sabotaging his game. 3 days remain before Stage 3 begins. "Let's head back, Lucas," he orders, and his knight snaps a crisp yes, "Your Highness." There's no option left but to throw everything into defense. Back at the castle, Ash shouts for Ader, his city steward, who comes scrambling with a welcome home. Ash demands the numbers. Only 528 people can actually hold the front line. What? After 100 straight summon pulls, that's all he's got. Ader stammers that most of the tutorial soldiers were lost, and Ash explodes, cursing his own past self. "Send a messenger to the next city," Ash orders, offering double weekly pay to any soldier who will come. Ader scribbles it down. Then he pushes further, "Alert the Imperial Palace that monsters are stirring and beg for every reinforcement they can spare." Ader hesitates. Is that really wise? A system warning flashes a coming catastrophic event, but Ash shoves the fear down. He needs to survive. "Just call them," he snaps. "Oh, and one more thing," Ash adds, "round up every carpenter, mason, blacksmith, and alchemist in the city. Draft them," he corrects. Ader protests. That halts magic gemstone production. Ash snarls back that the city's about to be reduced to rubble and gemstones are the least of it. "Stop everything. Bring them here now." Alone afterward, he exhales. This game's difficulty is not normal. A flash of light snaps him alert. There's no more time to wait, Ash decides. The harder this game gets, the more angles he needs to work. A status window offers him the beginner commander occupation. Fine, it's yes, you bastard, he growls, gambling on it. The system congratulates him. Ash has become a beginner commander, but strange effects hit, and he doubles over in pain. What was that feeling? Ash reels as the system flashes a warning, a 50% debuff to stat growth. Confused, he barely processes it before a second warning lands, 50% off item proficiency 2. Silence, then he detonates. What the fuck, are you kidding me? What kind of occupation hands out nothing but debuffs? Furious, he rounds on his steward, Ader. You little bastard, I'm gonna kill you. The system floods Ash with power all at once. Attack totem, defense totem, super buffer, main order, then flags party synergy as usable. He just stares. Then it clicks. Standing anywhere on the field now buffs every soldier's attack and defense around him. Suddenly, those brutal debuffs make sense. Party synergy explains itself. Mixing party members' jobs unlocks bonus skills with a full class-changing system built in. Ash lights up. For a former gamer like him, this build is flawless. His fist clenches, and the next day, back at the castle, he turns on someone and demands, "Can you explain what happened?" A dazed clerk reports no one's answering the draft order. Ader explains he brought the union leaders here himself, fast. Lined up and furious, the blacksmith roars nonsense. The carpenter and stonemason demand who will answer for their stalled production lines, and the alchemist snaps that even a prince needs a time and place. Ash smirks. Everyone's veins are practically popping. Ash's tone flips cold. Wanna die, bastards. He reminds them exactly who they're yelling at, their prince and city lord who summoned them out of courtesy. Hurting his feelings like this could get them killed, he warns. The leaders crumple, stammering apologies, first time serving a prince as their lord. Negotiations, he notes, go smoothly after that, leaving the crowd gaping. Is that true? Ash lays out the deal. 20% of the magic gems the army collects, sold to the guilds at production price, opening them a direct supply line. In return, whenever he gives the word, war supply orders jump to the front of the queue, paid fairly. Silently, he weighs it, a good trade, bought with money and the crown on his head. Coins spill through the air as Ash wonders if that makes him a materialist. It works instantly. The union leaders are fired up, shouting they are in, asking how hard the job could really be and when they start. Nothing's more trustworthy than money, he thinks. Then the system flashes a countdown. Stage 1 begins in 2 days and 13 hours. Blue flame ripples through the dark as Ash assumes word has already reached him through Lucas. The system lays out the threat plainly. 1,000 living armor soldiers, marching straight for this city, arriving in roughly 2 days. Ash's face goes flat, grim. HM. Facing a room full of people wearing the same "we're doomed" look, Lucas the Knight asks what they are supposed to do now. Someone answers, whatever they can. Ash steps forward and takes charge, declaring he'll personally assign every task himself. Lucas squares up, vowing to do his best as commander of the military. Ash turns to Lucas with a clipped order. The soldiers are getting sloppy, discipline them. Lucas snaps a vow to obey. Across the city, Ash tracks down Lily, the water artifact technician director, bracing for bad news. He reassures her she won't fight on the front lines, then drops the real catch. As a city civil servant, she's bound to this job for life. Jupiter, the detached force captain, cuts straight to the point. If he performs well, does his salary go up? Ash privately groans at his money-obsessed subordinate, literally saddled with the unremovable gold rush trait. Ash confirms it, and Jupiter grins, needling him to think hard about next year's raise since no other mercenary works this cheap. Ash hands Damien a normal crossbow prepared just for him. The system logs it in, level 10, no bonus yet, and Damien accepts on the spot, awakening the title long-distance shooter. His stance is clumsy, but Ash figures he'll settle in once the cannon's involved. Ash notices something's missing. Where are his glasses? Damien admits he simply doesn't need them anymore. Damien explains he used to wear glasses just to make his eyesight worse, but now that sharp vision actually matters, he's ditching them for good. Everyone breathes relief. No one else in the room needs glasses either. Ash cuts the moment short. Stay still, stay quiet. With the strategy meeting done, the story shifts to the south wall of Crossroad. At the south wall, a soldier startles seeing him. "You're really here." Ash confirms it and asks straight up how the wall's holding. A grizzled worker gives it to him plain. "It's bad, neglected for so long." Ash's eyes narrow. Pressed on why, the worker admits it. Fewer monsters meant fewer magic gems to collect, so the previous lord slashed the budget. Ash cuts to the core problem. Wasn't this fort built to stop monsters in the first place? Starving its own defenses over lost income is backwards, and he says so. Done debating, he orders unlimited money and materials. Reinforce it until it's overbuilt beyond doubt, since the monsters are already marching. Then he heads straight to the carpentry workshop to brief every worker on the 2-day deadline. Ash's demand: walls built tall enough to block monster paths. The lead carpenter hesitates, warning that wood alone can't hold against monsters no matter how they're built. But Ash isn't asking for something strong enough to stop the enemy. He just wants it tall and sturdy, full stop, no more questions. Ash throws his fists up, roaring for the walls to be fucking tall and fucking sturdy, leaving the carpenters bewildered. Construction begins without further comment. Over the next 2 days, preparations steadily progress across the city. Soldiers marching in formation, Damien eating quietly, a tense embrace in the dark, and Lily consulting with an elder ally, every piece falling into place before the coming assault. 2 days evaporate in a blink, and now Ash's ragtag army stands atop Crossroad's south wall as the system clock ticks. Stage 1, 30 minutes to contact. A lookout scans the dark tree line, then freezes. Arrows knock, hearts pound. "They're coming!" rips through the ranks. A living armor soldier rears up in ghostly blue flame as the whole horde surges through driving rain toward the wall. On the ramparts, a soldier shouts there's nothing to fear. Then Ash, cape snapping in the wind, turns and grins down at his troops. "They're just a bunch of small fries." They're not. Ash admits to himself living armor is the deadliest early-game monster, and his strongest army in the south is really retired soldiers and green recruits held together by borrowed magic and money they can't spare. Outwardly, he plants himself atop the wall, roars that there's nothing to worry about, and orders everyone to fight exactly as he says, pure bluff, shouted at full volume. Ash toasts to a coming victory, then privately reminds himself one anxious man is plenty for a battlefield already stretched thin. A storm of raw magic churns up beside him. He turns, steady, and hands the moment off. "I'll leave it to you, Jupiter." Lightning splits the sky as Ash silently admits half of this fight rides on one man. The mercenaries roar, "Let's go!" And Jupiter, the eye-patched, metal-draped force captain, barks, "Rookies! Back at them!" Ash watches him stride forward. His expensively hired lightning sorcerer is finally moving. Across the dark field, the living armor horde closes in with one shared directive: kill the nearest human. With no obstacles in their path, the system drives them to charge in the shortest line possible, a straight, predictable rush toward the wall. Which means their route is no mystery at all, exactly why the hastily dug pits still work. The horde plunges into the trench lines, shallow and rushed, not dug deep enough in the little time they had. Now, Jupiter. Ash bellows. Not deep enough won't matter not with what's coming next. Well then, Jupiter murmurs, Iolite let me work for my salary. Lightning erupts skyward and slams down as his first skill ignites. Bleaching zone. The blast tears through the stalled horde, and one by one the living armors collapse, smoking, frozen in the dirt. Jupiter roars at the horde, taunting them to respect their elders, sparks crackling around him as he channels a follow-up strike. Ash catches the crackling sigil spreading across the field and recognizes it instantly. Jupiter's mark, laid down on every armor unit hit by the first blast. Jupiter grins, joking that tonight's dinner is fried armor, and unleashes his second skill, bleaching again, a colossal lightning strike tearing through the marked horde. Ash explains it plainly. The first hit marks the targets, the second finishes them off. The tally ticks up, 5 kills confirmed. Ash cheers Jupiter's kill, but the relief doesn't last. More armored bodies rise unshaken on the ridge, and the horde surges forward again. Ash's stomach drops. The enemy numbers a full 1,000, and Jupiter's devastating blast barely dented them. He screams the order, pull back now. Lucas signals the charge. Troops thunder forward in a rising wall of dust. Jupiter sprints ahead of the retreating rookies, shouting at them to keep running and not look back. Ash watches with a private smirk. The retreat is exactly the trap he planned, and orders his own men to hold and stand by. Jupiter murmurs for the horde to chase just a little further. Lucas roars the charge, a green recruit stammering agreement as riders cut across the field in a wall of smoke, slamming into the horde's flank. Ash grins. Jupiter played his part perfectly, luring them right where they need to be. The armor horde recoils as the trap snaps shut, blue light flooding the corridor around them. Ash sneers, welcoming them to wall land and daring them to make their move. A glowing orb hovers before the horde, avoid it or smash it. Jupiter smirks. Either way, their choice is obvious. The system pings its command, kill the human ahead. Ash laughs, exactly the reaction he counted on. Funneled through a narrow gap in the wall, the horde crowds into a shrinking space, losing all room to maneuver. A hand rises, signaling the gun line. Everyone ready to fire, they've waited long enough. Damien screams for his soldiers to stop holding back and unload everything. Cannon fire rips through the sky and slams into the packed horde, explosion after explosion tearing through their crowded ranks, a proof of basic defense game strategy. Box them in, then burn them down. The cannons keep hammering into the choke point, fireballs chewing through the packed horde. Ash Bonehatter Everblack, third prince and lord of Crossroad, roars for his gun line to keep firing, and beside him Ader, his city steward, watches the monsters slam uselessly against that wall of fire, unable to push past. Ash holds the line, not yet. Crackling blue lightning rips down into the crammed ranks in one massive burst, but when the smoke clears he just smirks, cursing under his breath. Sturdy bastards, of course it wasn't going to end that easily. Ash's grin widens. He saw this coming and planned for it. He calls out for Lily, the water artifact technician director, and gives the order, activate it. Lily snaps a salute and confirms, activating the gravity field artifact. Light floods the wall's core, then a violent purple vortex tears open above the kill zone, wrenching at everything caught beneath it. A lone knight strides forward through the drizzle, blade catching what little light there is. Ash sees the horde turn sluggish under the gravity field and calls for Lucas, his knight and military commander, who answers at once and orders the ballista squadron to the ready. Lucas barks the aim point, go for the glowing soul cores in their chests. Damien, the young marksman, screams the firing order, and a volley of ballista bolts screams downward, punching hard into the slowed monsters below. A bolt finds its mark, and a soul core bursts into blue flame as it's destroyed. Stacked cannon fire piles on top of the damage, and Ash, watching it all unfold, allows himself a satisfied nod. The artifact and ballista are finishing exactly what he planned. A soldier bursts in, panicked enemies have circled around the walls. Ash's triumph curdles into alarm as streaks of movement flank the position. He admits he expected this, just not this many, and shouts out for Jupiter, already mounted and waiting. Ash orders Jupiter, his eye-patched lightning sorcerer, to swing around and hit the living armor flanking the wall, strike fast, then seal the gap. Jupiter accepts, spurs his horse alongside a fellow rider, and charges dead at the looming armored horror. Point blank, he drives a crackling bolt of lightning straight into it. Jupiter's lightning tears through the right flank, and Ash confirms its holding. He pivots to the left side and calls up young marksman Damien, who snaps to nervous attention. Ash orders him to shoot down anything breaking through on the left. Damien's crossbow line opens fire, his face tight with pressure. Damien narrows his eyes, jaw set, finger tightening on the trigger as a steady hand grips the firing bar. He looses a bolt that streaks across the battlefield trailing light, and it punches into an armored target in an explosive burst of blue energy. The bolt shears the creature's arm off in a spray of blue. Damien whoops, "I hit it," in front of his stunned unit. Watching from above, Ash realizes it's Damien's clairvoyant skill, piercing a soul core with an ordinary crossbow, and jabs that it's basically cheating. Then the whole ballista line opens up, turning the field into a kill zone. Ash surveys the wall, Jupiter holding the right, Damien holding the left. The kill counter races upward, closing in on 500. Ash allows himself a satisfied smirk, saying they barely had time to prepare, but it might be enough to carry them smoothly to the boss monster. Then his face freezes. Amid the fallen armor, something crackles wrong. Ash mutters, "What the?" as strange blue light pulses over the corpses. A massive spiraling vortex rips open in midair above the battlefield. Ash stares up, stunned, wondering aloud if this has ever happened in the game. Behind him, the kill counter finally rolls over 500. The vortex churns and coalesces into a towering armored silhouette with burning eyes. Ash chokes out, "That's." As a status window flashes into view, level 25 Spectre Knight, count 1, the true boss monster commanding the entire living armor horde. Ash names it under his breath, Spectre Knight. Ash's mind races. This is exactly why this army hits so mercilessly hard. Beat every soldier and the boss simply steps in like a second phase. He's rattled its surface before the horde was even cleared, demanding to know why it showed up this soon. On screen, the Spectre Knight just hangs motionless in the air, casting no debuff, throwing no attack, doing nothing at all. The soldiers lock eyes on the floating horror and scream, "This isn't some tutorial simulation anymore, this is real." Jupiter, the detached force captain, grits his teeth. Damn it. Nobody trained for facing a monster this size. It isn't the armor or the numbers breaking their nerve, it's pure animal fear. The moment the boss shows itself, the soldiers' morale craters and the whole front line falters, and it isn't just the humans. Even Jupiter's own warhorse loses its nerve, rearing and shrieking in terror. He barks, "Damn it." Then his mount bucks him clean off its back. Jupiter slams into the ground, his blade clattering out of reach. The living armor closes in fast, cores blazing blue, while he lies stunned and bleeding, barely able to groan. From the wall, Ash sees it happen and screams in horror no. As the horde surges forward, the armored horde barrels forward with one goal: cut down the helpless humans in their path. Explosions rip through the ground as they close the distance, and Jupiter lies exposed and unmoving right in their way, utterly defenseless against the charge bearing down on him. Ash curses and snaps into action, ordering his soldiers to form up and shield the fallen sorcerer, protect the sorcerer. Troops scramble forward under covering fire. Jupiter is the linchpin of this whole stage, Ash knows, and losing him now would gut the defense. Damien urges him to swing the cannons and ballistas around to cover Jupiter's party. Ash refuses no. If the kill zone breaks, twice as many enemies pour through. Damien pushes back, but the boss's presence has already done damage. The cannons and ballistas stutter to a stop, the once airtight wall of fire falling slack. Ash orders the line to focus on restoring the kill zone first. The soldiers are too panicked to spare a shot for Jupiter yet. Ash murmurs an apology under his breath, "Sorry, Jupiter. Hang in there." Then the view snaps to Jupiter himself, blinking awake in a daze. "Where am I?" he mutters, wincing in pain, staring down at his own bloodied hand. "Gosh, what am I doing at this age?" he grumbles, dazed and hurting on the ground. A soldier shakes him urgently. "Dame Jupiter, can you hear me? We need to move." Groggy and surrounded by fallen comrades, Jupiter mutters that this is no time to be lying on the ground. The soldier promises rescue is coming, insists they just need to survive until, and a blast of blue energy slams in, cutting him off cold. The Spectre Knight's monstrous claw of blue energy crashes down again, and the soldier shielding Jupiter throws up his weapon just in time. It groans, cracks, but holds. He staggers upright, blood streaked across his face, stunned he's still breathing. Another soldier gapes, "You're still up after getting hit by that?" Then his eyes snap wide, something's closing in from behind, but the warning cuts off mid-word. The warning comes too late. A blade rips into the soldier from behind. "Behind me," he chokes out, only realizing the danger as it lands. He was sure he'd cleared every living armor nearby, but one slipped through. It cuts him down where he stands, and as he collapses in a spray of blood, he screams for help no one can give in time. Fury overtakes Jupiter as she screams she'll fry every last monster, lightning erupting from her clenched fist. But her hand seizes, the magic won't obey. "Damn it, I can't control my magic." She snarls as wild current arcs off her body. It lashes out blind, catching a soldier nearby who screams, "Let go!" Before the surge cuts her down, blood spraying as a young onlooker recoils in horror. The runaway current doesn't stop. A distant figure's scream is swallowed as the energy coils and reshapes itself into a colossal blade of light, towering over the battlefield. It plunges downward with a shriek of pressure, and a heavy final blow lands in a burst of red, the wild magic finally spending itself. Narration cuts through the wreckage. This tiny defense line has just been annihilated in an instant. Jupiter squares up against the living armor closing in, the stink of rusted metal and drowned corpses thick in the air. Lightning crackles to life around her as she growls, "You should have stayed at the bottom of the lake." Then snaps, "Why can't you let this granny get an easy paycheck?" A thunderous discharge tears through the armor ranks, dropping one where it stands, but Jupiter, sweat-soaked and shaking, admits that blast was barely a quarter of what she can usually do. More living armor keeps closing in. "I'm screwed," she thinks. Behind her, a soldier screams, "Run away." At a stunned Rookie, "At least one of us has to live." "I'll buy you time, run while you can, Rookie," Jupiter orders. The young mercenary Ren refuses. "I can't go, this is the best I could do." Jupiter blinks stunned. "You're a sorcerer." Ren cites the old rule drilled into every mercenary, "Stay by your sorcerer," insisting he's safer fighting at her side than fleeing on foot. Jupiter goes quiet. Ren's strategy pays off. Instead of trying to kill the living armor outright, he drives them back with sweeping strikes of his long staff, buying precious distance. "I'll stop them any way I can, so get ready to cast again," he shouts to Jupiter. Meanwhile, Damien, up on the castle walls, rains bolt after bolt down onto the armor below in support. The bolt tears through the horde, but it's not enough to stop them all. By the time Jupiter gathers enough charge for one more strike, the young mercenary Ren is already skewered on the armor's spears, blood on his lips. Her eye goes wide with fury. Damn it. Her lightning finally crashes down, scattering the wreckage, but it comes too late. Ren collapses, coughing blood into her arms. Could she have moved just seconds faster? Her mind drifts back to when he was a green recruit and she asked him, "Hey, rookie, what's the first rule of survival?" In memory, young Ren stays silent as Jupiter lays out her rule: never take a job that pays suspiciously well. In the present, he sobs for his mother as the life drains out of him. Crows scatter overhead. In the memory, she stops herself. "No, every rule I just gave you is wrong, rookie." Lightning coils around her fist as she corrects herself in the memory. If you want to be rich, if you want fame, the real rule is simple. Only take jobs that are dangerous as hell and pay a fortune. No shortcuts. No easy contracts. The memory rolls on. Another blast rips through armor as she adds her last rule: stay as far from sorcerers as you can, because they'll steal all the credit. Young Ren asks why. Above all, she warns, if he wanted to survive, he never should have become a mercenary at all. Back in the present, Jupiter's hand shakes. She doesn't even have the strength left to light a cigar. Surrounded again, she laughs bitterly, thinking a fat paycheck meant an easy life. So this is how it ends, she thinks, bracing for the kill. Then a voice cuts through. "Stay still." Footsteps pound closer, and out of nowhere a golden blade of light rips through the air, slashing into the armor swarming her. The blast shreds the monsters apart. Jupiter flinches, stunned, realizing someone just saved her life. Huh. Standing in the dust is Ash Bonehatter Everblack, the third prince and commander, holding Crossroad's wall, shield raised, blade still glowing gold. He hasn't just been directing this defense from afar. He stepped straight into the fight himself, eyes locked forward. Moments earlier, high on Crossroad's fort walls, panic spreads faster than the horde itself. "Restore the kill zone," someone barks. The soldiers are losing their minds. Lucas, a sharp young officer serving under Prince Ash, shouts for two terrified men to snap out of it. Don't let the monster's size scare you. His eyes flare, the system pings. Skill Indomitable Commander activated. A soldier screams that he isn't scared, still trembling. Lucas's stare sharpens as Indomitable Commander takes hold. The system window explains it grants every ally within 10 meters immunity to mental collapse, steadying even the weakest hearts. Ash calls his name. "Yes, Your Highness," Lucas answers. "I'll steady the soldiers and restore the kill zone myself." Ash gives the order that stops the wall cold. Open the gates, ride out, and pull Jupiter's party back from the land of death. It's a foolish command, maybe a suicidal one, but Lucas doesn't hesitate for a second. "Yes, Your Highness. I'll return as soon as I can." He rides through the broken gates into the dark. Back on the wall, soldiers finally shake off their panic. Down in the ruins, Ash's golden light tears through the armor horde in one merciless sweep, blasting a path apart. Jupiter can only stare, Stunned, the same golden power that just saved her life scattering the horde like ash. "Hold on tight," Lucas says, swinging up onto his horse with Jupiter behind him. She startles at the sudden order. He spurs the horse forward, riding hard through the ruined street toward the wall, and behind them a jagged blue shape rears up out of the dark, still hunting. A blade flashes silver, then Lucas cuts down the pursuing armor with one golden-edged strike. Safe for a moment, Jupiter can't resist teasing her rescuer. "Hey, young night man, interested in meeting my granddaughter. She's a fine young woman." "If you've got energy for jokes," Lucas snaps, "use it to recover your magic. There are still plenty of monsters left." Jupiter just laughs. Warm to Ash, ice to everyone else, Lucas brushes off her thanks. "No need. I'm just following His Highness's orders." Riding on, he mutters low, almost to himself, "I'm sorry I couldn't get here sooner." "Let's save the regrets for after we've killed every last monster," Ash calls out, still blazing with golden light against the horde. Someone grumbles it's been a while since they've felt this genuinely furious. Thanks to Indomitable Commander, the kill zone holds just in time, and through the smoke, Jupiter makes it back to the wall safely. Jupiter reels 4 of her young mercenaries, Ren, Decker, Gia, and Tane, gone in an instant, and she blames her own overconfidence. Even in the game, fear and panic could break soldiers' minds. In real life, the chaos runs deeper. Even the horses bolt in terror. As she wrestles with how much reality outstrips theory, artillery fire ignites a spreading blaze across the field. The kill zone collapses and living armor pawns pour through the gap. Ash grits his teeth. He'd hoped to end this with firepower alone, but now the fight moves to the fort wall itself. The tally flashes. The Spectre Knight still standing. 277 armor pawns destroyed, 775 kills logged. Ash steadies himself. This battlefield is still his to command. Lucas rides up and stiffly addresses her as Dame Jupiter, a title he clearly resents giving someone stripped of her honors, yet he offers it anyway out of respect. Jupiter hangs her head, calling herself a disgrace for getting young recruits killed. Lucas insists no one could have predicted a monster striking from the sky or the horses panicking. It isn't her fault. Jupiter won't accept the excuse. She'll pay back every life lost, she vows, whatever it takes. She's taking that monster's neck herself. Blue lightning crackles and swells around her, raw and furious. Lucas tells her to stand down and heal instead. Her strength will be needed again soon. The surge detonates outward in a burst of light. Ash sees the kill zone stall out and barks the order to cease fire. His soldier scrambles to comply. Ash pulls Damien, the sharp-eyed marksman with clairvoyance, off the line, telling him to rest and save his aim for a bigger target instead of grinding down stragglers. Damien reluctantly agrees, even as the enemy horde finally reaches the fort walls. With the walls holding firm, the living armors change tactics, clawing and hauling themselves straight up the stone, blue energy crackling off their limbs. Ash roars the order to prepare for hand-to-hand combat, and his officers relay it down the line, rallying the melee squad to rush the front and meet the climbers head-on. The hand-to-hand squad surges forward, red-armored soldiers with spears and shields locking into formation. No magic here, just steel, muscle, and nerve. Sweat cuts through the grime on one soldier's face as the full weight of the advancing line becomes clear. This is a fight that will be won or lost on raw physical might alone. Then a massive armored hand descends from the dark, fingers glowing with cold blue light, dwarfing everything below it. This isn't the climax everyone braced for. It's only the start of the real war. The armor horde's iron fists claw up Crossroad's wall, lightning crackling through their ranks. Ash grits his jaw and throws a hand up. Stand by, holding the defenders back even as the climbing horde closes the gap below. Ash bellows now, drop it, and soldiers atop the ramparts shove a rigged mass of rubble over the edge. It slams down into the climbing horde in a burst of blue light, crushing armor pawns under the falling weight. It's leftover stone and steel stashed from the wall's own reinforcement work, positioned up top for exactly this. Many armor pawns shatter under the barrage, but the rest claw back upright. Ash snarls, how annoyingly resilient, as they keep climbing anyway. Spearmen shove back against the climbing armor while Ash pulls up a status screen to reshuffle the fight. Let's reorganize the party. Jupiter is the main party. Party synergy locks in, boosting morale and magic power by 20%. That's beautiful, he says, then catches himself. But right now, a soldier's scream tears out as an armored gauntlet closes around him at the ramparts. Chains rattle, spears clash. The enemy is already coming up over the wall, and a monstrous blue-lit face roars in triumph below. Rain hammers down as Lucas, Ash's officer, grits out the truth. From now on they fight the enemy while it's physically attacking them, no more holding at range. Two soldiers brace, shaking spears against the horde as a golden blast tears through the dark. Kellen, a blonde knight captain, drops in blade first in a blaze of gold, ordering the line. I'll cut the enemies down, all you need to do is hold and stop them. The soldiers snap to it and Lucas exhales. It's not about whether they can. They have to. The soldiers roar and brace as the truth lands. To survive, everyone has to get stronger, no choice but to fight and win. Ash calls out, Lily, activate the next artifact. Lily answers, yes, your highness. And green light flares as Haste charges a line of armored soldiers. Haste kicks in, every soldier moves 5% faster for the next 5 minutes. Ash isn't done. He equips main order, attack totem, and defense totem, characteristics built for close combat. Soldiers roar, shoving the horde back with everything they've got. Ash grits out one command, everyone succeed. Kellen smashes through the line, golden blade flashing. Beside him, Lucas unleashes the strike of strong will, a stacking skill that gets deadlier with every kill and single-handedly holds half the fort wall together. It's an incredible feat, but even that isn't enough. The wall captains admit it flat out. They're losing. Wounded soldiers drop the second they're hit, and Ash keeps calling for replacements. The Spectre Knight looms behind the chaos, and Ash realizes both Lucas and Jupiter need to save their strength for that boss fight, which leaves him staring down one brutal question. What now? Ash needs a way to cut the injury rate and wipe out what's left of the horde in one move. Then it happens. A wall of fire erupts across the field, and Ash's eyes go wide, reflecting the blaze. Something's just clicked. Turns out Lily's been hiding a second skill set. She can cast magic. Ash can't believe it, promising to promote her on the spot. But Lily wants out immediately. That fire spell drained her mana completely, and she begs to be discharged instead. Ash counters with a bonus. Ash pushes his luck, asking for one more blast. Lily, drained and reluctant, throws herself back in anyway. With party synergy adding 20% and the attack totem another 5%, her fire magic surges 25% stronger, and the resulting inferno is absolutely devastating. They've nicknamed her flamethrower now, and Lily's not thrilled about it. She just wants to be treated like a person. Still, the plan holds. Soldiers brace and take the hits with their bodies. Lucas cuts down anything that gets close, and Lily scorches the rest to ash. The horde finally crumbles and the soldiers erupt. It's over. They actually held the line. But Kellen's face turns grim as he cuts through the celebration. It's not over yet. Something worse is still coming. Kellen's voice cuts through the wreckage. Don't lose focus. There's still one left. The rubble that used to be the horde crumbles to dust, but before anyone can breathe, a storm of blue light rips open overhead and starts pulling itself together into something new. The light collapses inward into a towering, ghostly figure, and a scream tears out of it that shakes the whole battlefield. Bolts of blue energy lash outward in every direction. The Spectre Knight is rebuilding itself right in front of them. Soldiers at the gate scream and dive for cover as the shockwave rolls over the wall. Ash stares through the rain, stunned, and mutters, "Be fucking real." Then he snaps, screaming into the storm that there's no way this is just a stage 1 boss. Thunder cracks as the knight swings again. Ash turns away, fist clenched and sparking, forcing himself steady. Then he rounds back on it, roaring at himself not to get scared. It's still just a stage 1 boss, a level 25 monster, and gives the order. Fire. Cannon fire rakes the knight as Ash yells not to hold back. Kellen bellows, "Keep shooting," and "Hurry before it reaches the fort walls." Blast after blast rocks it in flame, yet despite burning head to foot, the Spectre Knight takes another step forward. Ash grits out, "What a disgustingly tough bastard," then wheels on Lily and orders the third artifact activated. She scrambles to comply, the magic multiplier, a rare artifact that doubles a chosen ally's power. Ash sends the boost to Jupiter, who takes it with a grim nod. Jupiter grins, saying it feels just like his golden days. Ash orders him to unload everything into the knight's breastplate. Someone warns Ash to watch the lightning himself as Jupiter channels a colossal bolt, thunderclouds boiling overhead before the beam comes crashing down. The lightning beam tears through the knight amid an agonized scream, and beneath the scorched armor a glowing blue orb is revealed, its soul core. Ash bellows for Damien, who swings his heavy rifle into position and confirms, "Yes, Your Highness." Ash gives the order, "Shoot." Damien narrows his eye, breath steady, and squeezes the trigger. A blinding lance of light rips straight through the storm and slams into the Spectre Knight, punching clean through its ghostly armor. Ash pumps his fist, "Nice shot, Damien." The knight's tattered cloak buckles and folds. It's over. Someone cries, but the creature's eye snaps back open, blazing. "Damn it," it snarls, "was that not enough?" The Spectre Knight hauls itself upright again, towering and roaring against the rooftops. If that raised sword ever falls, it'll flatten the fort walls. Ash bellows for Jupiter to land one more hit, and Jupiter lifts his weapon straight into the thunderstorm, earning a shout that he's begging to get electrocuted. Jupiter, the lightning sorcerer captain, holds his blade skyward as the storm answers him. Bolts lash down and wrap the knight whole, cracking its frame with thunderous force as the charge builds towards something bigger. Ash sees it coming and screams for everyone to run from the sword. Soldiers scatter as Kellen grabs him, "Your Highness, you have to get out of here." The blade comes down, the blast tears through, and screams rip across the smoke before it finally settles. Ash groans, rubbing his back, waving off Kellen's concern. He's fine. He wants to know about the wall. Lily, Jupiter, and the others regroup as the knight's shattered form dissolves into drifting blue wisps. Finally, the team lets out a cheer. They've killed the stage 1 boss. The Spectre Knight flares back to life in a wall of blue fire. "Your Highness, it's dangerous." Lucas warns, but Ash waves him off. He already knows this pattern. It's the night's final tantrum, a surge of pure fear and confusion, not a damaging attack, but one that can still drive a mind insane. Ash steadies his glare from here, it's human territory. Begone, monster. He roars as gold light flares around him. The system pings that his indomitable commander has activated. The fort's cannon roars back to life and unloads everything it's got. The snow settles and silence answers where screams just were. Soldiers blink at empty ramparts. The giant, the ghosts, all of it gone. Ash cleared them out. Someone whispers if it's really over, and above the fort, a battered flag snaps back up into the wind. Kellen, the blonde knight captain, thrusts a fist skyward. They've won, they've survived. The ranks march on, steadier now. Kellen watches the terror drain out of every soldier's eyes, replaced with something like pride, and wonders if it's his passive skill doing the work or just his words. Ash roars for everyone to keep living, and the whole line answers back at full volume. All he did, he thinks, was shout with his whole heart. Over the battered fort, the system finally confirms it. Stage 1 clear, rewards delivered, and the MVP crown goes to Jupiter. Night falls, and the city's central square lights up for the first time since the siege began. Ash raises a mug over the crowd. Congratulations, he calls out, for taking down those monstrous armors and earning this victory. Cheers erupt, and the barrels start pouring. The festival kicks into full swing. Mugs crack together, a drummer and a fiddler strike up a tune, and Kellen throws back drinks with the ranks over a coin toss game. Meat sizzles over open flame while the whole square loosens up for the first time in days. A hand slams the table, arm wrestling, and the crowd erupts. The newbie won. A sore loser demands a rematch, left hand only, and squares up against Ash, whose grip doesn't budge. Lucas steps in, gently. He hasn't eaten all day, and Ash finally agrees to sit and eat. Lucas, the young officer, needles him over a toast. That's not the face of a victorious commander, not after stopping 1,000 living armors with barely any losses. Ash insists there weren't big casualties, distracted, until the shockingly strong drink in his cup yanks him back to the moment. Alone with it now, Ash admits the truth to himself. Small or not, every death still counts, every life still mattered. He can't save everyone. Thinking otherwise in this brutal game is arrogant. But if he'd just been more careful, they'd still be alive. This isn't the tutorial. Here, there were no do-overs. Ash still can't shake it. It hurt more because he knew the truth himself. Lucas tells him he did great. There's nothing to feel bad about, but even Lucas admits his words can't erase the prince's regrets. That night, the city lights a bonfire for the victory festival, and Kellen turns to Ash. Smile, at least for tonight. Keeping morale up is part of commanding too. Kellen's own advice catches him off guard. Smiling is also the commander's job, he mutters, and someone nearby cracks up at how true that sounds, startling Ash. A cook rushes over, insisting they honor the fallen but also celebrate, piling a tray with meat and vegetables. Kellen formally toasts him. Congratulations on clearing stage 1. Well done, keep up the great work. Word rips through camp. Ash is only eating vegetables. Panic spreads. Their prince, a known meat lover, reduced to greens. Soldiers spiral into guilt, wailing that they made him suffer a vegetarian's fate, demanding to know what kind of hardship he must have lived through. Someone erupts, ordering the ranks to drag out every scrap of meat and all the alcohol for Ash immediately. The festival explodes into full swing, pouring, drinking, dancing all around him. Ash groans, dragged from his plan to quietly review the battle alone, and instead finds a cup shoved into his hand. Lily grabs him, giggling and flushed, definitely drunk. Half joking, half serious, she begs him for a discharge. She wants out. Ash wheels a still slurring Lily along, refusing her drunken request to quit. No one's getting discharged in times this tense, he says, even offering to just pay her more. Spotting another tipsy figure hiccuping through bitter water, he realizes it's straight alcohol, not water, and rounds on Jupiter demanding to know who's been getting this kid drunk. Damien the marksman waves it off. The kid's no child. He's a full mercenary who needs to learn drinking, smoking, and blowing money. And as his grandfather figure, Damien means to teach him well, earning a scolding for corrupting his grandson. Drunk, Damien rests his head on Ash, who calls out the boldness, but behind the grin, his mind drifts to his dead friend's face. Damien can't outrun that day, the guilt of surviving when his friend didn't sits heavy on him. But oddly, standing near Ash steadies him, which is why he keeps close. Ash, watching quietly, knows the real reason. It isn't his charisma pulling people together, it's his passive skill working on them without their knowing, a truth he can't bring himself to say out loud. Jupiter admits her magic felt stronger fighting under Ash's command, crediting his leadership. Privately, Ash knows better. A status window flickers past showing the party, Ash, Lucas, Lily, Jupiter, Damien, each leveled up, sinking into a 25% buff he can't explain aloud. Jupiter presses on, gushing that his leadership lightens her steps, leaving Ash quietly wondering if that's really why she stays close. Someone teases Ash for his wishy-washy maybe, saying it doesn't fit his stoic reputation at all. Toasts ring out around him for the fallen, for the survivors, for him, but his own jug sits untouched, and when the room notices, he waves it off as feeling unwell. The men spiral into guilty apologies, swearing they've ruined his night. Ash can only sigh. What a life this prince leads, where even silence gets picked apart. Under a bright moon, the guilt spirals further. Soldiers wail that they deserve to die, then get shouted down to just stand up and drink instead. One tipsy officer rounds on Ash, roaring that since he's finally gotten his commander to drink, there's no turning back now, and bellows for every jug to be refilled. The whole camp erupts, toasting itself toward oblivion under the moonlight. The feast rolls on for hours, eating, drinking, singing, until the night of victory finally winds down. A visibly drunk Ash stumbles off alone, groaning, and drops onto a pair of waiting stage-clear reward chests. Before he can even think about sleep, he decides he has to crack them open first, murmuring, "Let's see what color you are," as he flips the latch. Light floods out of the chest and Ash freezes. Is that a max-level item glowing in his hand? His glove ignites gold as it registers. Not just SSR-ranked, the rarest tier in the game, but maxed out on top of it. Stunned disbelief cracks into a grin. An actual SSR item dropped straight into his lap. The excitement curdles fast. Of all the SSR-ranked weapons he could have pulled, he's stuck with Lucky Strike fighting gloves whose damage is decided by a slot machine roulette instead of any real stat. He remembers it as a joke item he used for laughs while streaming, totally useless in a real fight. He slumps. Sigh, well, at least he got something. He can't bring himself to toss an SSR item, can't hand it off either. Maybe he'll land a jackpot right when he needs it, he tells himself, trying to stay optimistic. It doesn't take. He erupts, furious that broken, hack-level items exist in this game, and he ended up with a joke one. Despite the rare golden drop, he tosses and turns, barely sleeping before morning. Late the next afternoon, Ash wakes groaning, hungover, clutching his head. Kellen, the blonde knight captain, greets him with a booming, relentlessly cheerful good morning. Down the hall, Lucas checks in, worried Ash never got proper rest, until his own bodyguard sheepishly admits he can't talk, since it's clear the man drank just as hard the night before. Kellen fires an equally chipper good morning right back, leaving Ash silently wondering why this man is always so energetic. Kellen presses warm honey water on both hungover men, and it actually helps. Color returns to their faces as he cheerfully asks if he should start prepping for the next stage. The scene cuts to the battered fort from above, and Ash mutters that in this state they can't even hold off wild animals. How long until repairs are done? The morning after, an old engineer surveys the broken wall. 2 weeks minimum, and step 1 is somehow lifting that massive sword out of the stone. The system counts down. Stage 1, 9 days left. Ash orders every uninjured soldier onto repairs starting tomorrow, then pushes Lucas for word on reinforcements. A nearby city is sending troops, but making sure they arrive safely is completely out of his hands. Lucas tells Ash to report in if anything goes wrong. The two vow to do what they can. Then Ash drops the real plan into the dungeon to destroy the monster's origin for good. Kellen asks if it's another teleport to Black Lake. Exactly, Ash says, but this time they are going under the water with the whole party. Tower defense is over. This is dungeon offense now. Ash breaks the news to the rest of the party. They leave on the expedition tomorrow. Easier to show them than explain it 100 times over. Lily bursts into tears, begging to come, but the dungeon only fits 5 people, and Ash has to turn her down. He then tasks Ada with gathering supplies, preserved food, camping gear, potions, and every lantern or torch they can find. The next morning, the party gathers in the manor's backyard. Jupiter, the lightning sorcerer captain, reads the mood instantly. This seems serious, and asks where they're headed. Ash just says they'll see soon, then a glowing circle crackles to life beneath them. Jupiter freezes. This is teleportation magic, tech that should have vanished centuries ago. How does Ash have it? Ash only smiles. The answers come the more they explore. Ash lays out the real mission. This circle drops them straight into the monster's home base, buried beneath Black Lake, an entire kingdom of monsters down there. Their job: explore it, find out exactly why the horde keeps pouring out, and destroy the source for good. Not survive the next wave, end the invasion permanently. That, Ash says, is the true objective of this whole game. A teleport menu flickers up lakeside, and 2 areas still locked. Ash promises to brief everyone on the way and tells them to stick close. Damien steps up to go first, and Kellen needles him with a cheeky bye. As he vanishes, the system flashes a tip about leveling up through battle experience, earning eye rolls for stating the obvious. Then the light swallows them all, and they land somewhere new. They land right at the shore. It really is that lake, black water stretching under the moon. Ash asks Jupiter if he's been here before. 20 years ago, Jupiter says, back when royal soldiers were stationed at Crossroad and ordered to fill the whole lake with dirt. Ash can't help thinking someone had a dumb commander back then too. The entire magic troop got thrown at hauling dirt in, but something went wrong. No matter how much dirt and rock they dumped in, Jupiter says, the lake just swallowed it whole. Rumors spread that it connected straight down to hell. Within a week, monsters started swarming out in huge numbers. The troops retreated and the whole project collapsed. This is the closest Jupiter stood to the water since. Ash's warning cuts through the quiet. Stay sharp, because they're going deeper. The system pings. Would he like to enter the Lake Kingdom? Ash confirms without a flicker of hesitation. A blood-red warning flashes next. No turning back until the next stopping point. He isn't rattled, trying to scare him with a warning sign like he hasn't played this game before. The portal churns into a black whirlpool. This is the entrance to the dungeon. Okay, let's go. The submerged fortress sinks from view as the system loads. Entering the dungeon. A tip flashes on screen. Carelessness is the #1 reason for game over. Stay on guard. Then everything goes black. Ash notes it's pitch dark, he can't see a thing, and unsettling sounds start creeping closer somewhere out in that darkness. The scraping sound tightens around them like a noose and panic breaks. Voices cry out for Ash, frantic, demanding to know where he is. He calls back steady. "I'm here, don't worry." He orders everyone to stay calm and turn on their light. Kellen raises a blazing torch, and one by one the party's lights bloom until they're huddled together, lit and visible again. Still shaken, Jupiter flings both hands up on reflex, flame igniting before he even registers there's nothing there, and Kellen just breathes out in relief. Lucas finally asks what this place even is. Ash's answer lands heavy. This is the stranded Lake Kingdom, the dungeon beneath the water, and the home of the monsters they've come to clear out, piece by piece. The Lake Kingdom's drowned skyline rises before them. Ash notices it first. He can breathe down here. No restriction on movement like ancient magic is holding the whole submerged city open. One of the party can't get past the wrongness of it. A full city under a lake, and they're just walking through it normally. Then Lucas hisses, someone's coming. Blue light crackles as Jupiter and Kellen snap into a guard stance, ready to strike. But what emerges is a veiled woman, silver-white hair pooling to the floor, not attacking, just walking closer. Ash raises a hand. "Stand down, this isn't an enemy, probably their guide, since it's the party's first dungeon." Then she asks if they are treasure hunters after the Lake Kingdom's riches. Ash just blinks, "What?" The veiled woman tells Ash flatly, "This place doesn't have what he's looking for. Return to the surface while he still can." Ash goes quiet, uneasy. He's never seen her before. About 100 NPCs live in this fiery hell beneath the lake, and this is the one moment where, instead of a helpful guide, some random NPC shows up completely off script. Ash can't shake it. 742 runs through this game, and she's a face he's never met. Still, he pushes forward. "Well, let's keep going." He lays it out plainly. They came from the surface to destroy the source of the monsters, because up above people are suffering for it, and they're here to put an end to it. She only stares back, silent. A cloaked figure's voice cuts through the dark. "The nightmare of the Lake Kingdom never ends. No one has ever broken it, and countless great warriors before have all failed trying. Don't step into this place of darkness," she warns. "Turn back before the abyss swallows you, before regret drives you insane." Ash isn't backing down from words alone. He declares who he is. Lord of Crossroad, the fort city that stops monsters, responsible for protecting humanity from them. Unafraid of the dark, he insists they must enter this city and destroy the source. But the doors are locked, so he asks for a guide. The veiled woman agrees, curious whether his words are real courage or just a plain man's reckless bravado, and leads him toward the way into the city. Ash asks her name. She admits she's forgotten it, but tells him to call her Mu Mayung, meaning no name. For tens of minutes they trail Mu Mayung around the city walls. Kellen balks at trusting an unidentifiable stranger, sure it's a trap, while Lucas argues it's fine for now. She finally stops and points down. "Enter here to reach the city. This bare patch is the sewer system, slick underfoot." Backs hunched, they push through the cramped tunnel for 5 straight minutes until torchlight opens onto the first area. The dry sewer, every pipe bone dry where the city's runoff once connected. Glowing runes flare and lock in, a checkpoint, a safe zone no monster can cross. A teleport menu unlocks new destinations. One of the party begs to go home, please, flatly refused. Mu Mayung says she'll stop here. From this point on, it's up to their will. Ash thanks her for guiding them, but she warns that the deeper they push, the darker and stronger it gets. Her last words land hard. Never turn off your light. She hopes their path ahead is blessed, then dissolves into the darkness alone, no torch needed. Watching her go, Lucas and Kellen ask what she even was, how she survives down here. Ash has no answer. Lucas frets that the darkness itself feels alive, swallowing sight past arm's reach, and wonders how she walked it without a torch. Ash stays quiet. Even having cleared Hell Sage mode, this dungeon's secrets are new to him. But he's certain of one thing: they'll meet Mu Mayung again beneath the lake, friend or enemy. Ash rallies the party at the checkpoint, gear equipped and ready. A system window flashes up. The dry sewer, first area of the dungeon, 0 of 3 rooms cleared, boss room untouched. Confident his squad can handle it without much trouble, Ash gives the order to move out. They push down a narrow, torch-lit passage. Lucas asks how far it stretches, and Kellen promises it'll end soon. A voice explains how these dungeons work. Every room can hide loot, a fight, or an NPC. As the party nears the first room, something stirs in the dark, bare feet, then a snarling, red-eyed, large sewer rat lunging into view. A quest window locks in. Clear this room, 14 large sewer rats, level 3. The party spreads out to meet the swarm head-on. Ash sizes up the swarm, annoying in numbers, but nothing dangerous. Jupiter shrieks at the sight of so many rats, and Ash teases her for being scared of everything. He fires off orders fast. Lucas anchors the front line. Damien aims for eyes and throats. The mages hold their power back for anything that slips past. Ash, sword drawn, says he'll just watch. One golden slash drops a rat in a spray of light, and Ash grins, chirping that it's not so bad. Another creature shrieks and falls just as fast. The tunnel goes quiet, the swarm cleared. Afterward, Kellen praises the clean work, and Ash admits it went easier than his nerves had expected going in. An officer reports the body count, 13 rats down, too low-ranked to bother collecting magic gems from. Ash freezes. The quest window clearly read 14. Before the thought finishes, something with blazing red eyes lunges out of the darkness behind him, and his easy smile drops instantly. Ash stands frozen and silent, still turning over the missing 14th rat, when it strikes, bigger, faster, eyes burning, jaws inches from his face. With no time to swing, he grabs the blade itself bare-handed, blood welling from his palm as he wrestles the creature back by sheer grip. Ash roars and drives the blade home. A jackpot pop-up flashes red, then rolls impossibly high, 121. The strike lands as one massive gash of light and blood, and the monster crumples. Catching his breath, Ash mutters that pulling a lucky strike roll that high almost never happens. Lucas and Kellen rush over asking if he's hurt. Ash waves it off as fine. Lucas presses him. How does one swing kill something like that? Unable to explain the hidden game mechanics behind it, Ash panics and invents an excuse. A secret royal emergency power called the Prince Punch, begging them to just accept it and move on. With the room clear, Ash presses on to the sewer's second chamber empty, but something's hidden here, so the party fans out to search. Colonel Brennan, a scarred, one-eyed officer serving under Ash, calls on his detection skill and turns up a locked chest. "Good job," Ash says, "but be careful, it could be a trap disguised as treasure." Gold Rush activates and Brennan cackles, ripping the chest open before anyone can stop him. Ash panics. "You greedy grandma, what if it's a trap?" "But it really is treasure," Brennan sheepishly apologizes, says the smell of money makes him lose himself, then hands the chest to Ash, who side-eyes him for pocketing a few coins of his own. The third room falls just as easily, and the party reaches the last chamber before the true test, the boss room. Gates loom ahead, dread thick in the air. Ash squares his shoulders and rallies them. After we clear this, we head home, so keep it up. Something stirs in the dark and Ash flinches. What? Catching a wave of blood scent. Rats swarm without end, and a strange compulsion locks onto his mind, the system hammering one command over and over. Kill the rats, eradicate the rats, clean out the rats, make the Lake Kingdom pristine. Damien the marksman stares in shock. The monster is speaking human words. A towering rat beast rears up as the system pings. Defeat the boss. Giant rat man, level 15, sewerage manager Palig. Lucas and Kellen hack through the swarm, shouting, no matter how many I kill, there are still rats. *****ing rats. Ash mutters, baffled. Why does the rat man have a human name? The boss roars, I'll kill you all, and lunges, Lucas and Kellen scrambling back as Ash shouts no. Before it can close the gap, Jupiter, the sorceress, rattled by the rat swarm, shrieks and unleashes a wall of fire, screaming rats. As flame swallows the beast, which howls and screams for it to stay back. Scorched and reeling, the rat boss snarls in fury, but Colonel Brennan steps forward, sparking with electricity. You can stop here, he says. Good night. A bolt of lightning rips through the beast, arcing over its collapsing body. The rat boss crashes down dead. That was quick, Ash breathes. Thanks to Brennan and Jupiter's combined spell work, this early-stage boss, barely resistant to magic, falls fast, sparing them a grueling physical slog. Jupiter clings to him, panicked. We're going home now, right, Your Highness? Ash teases that she's scared. She snaps back, pointing at the room full of rat corpses. Ash tells Lucas to hold Jupiter back. She's already lunging for the treasure chest, squawking about respecting her elders. Lucas cracks it open instead, and a massive blade blazes to life in his hands. The system tags it on the spot. Rat Sujig, a sword built to slaughter monsters, bonus damage against everything they just fought. Ash hands the sword over for keeps. Lucas's old blade stays in reserve, no reason to waste it. Then something nags at him. Shouldn't there be one more prize? He digs through a barrel, and there it is. A summoning scroll for an automatic defense turret, the guaranteed drop of this whole area. That alone justifies the trip. Let's get out of here, Ash says, and Jupiter whoops with relief. The system chimes in to confirm it. Dry sewer, first area fully cleared. As they walk the corridor from the boss room, the tunnels simply end, and something in Ash's stare goes still. Past this point lies the inside of the sunken Lake Kingdom itself. What opens up in front of them stuns him. Towering, gleaming streets, magic-lit architecture even in a back alley, the kind of skyline only a society at its peak could build. But there's not one flicker of light on, not one living thing moving. The whole city sits frozen, silent, and dead. The moment they reach the checkpoint, the system slams the door shut. No proceeding past this point, not yet. A barrier of light seals the road ahead. Ash shrugs it off. Wasn't planning on going there today anyway, not when the alternative is getting eaten. Good work, everyone. That's the call. Stop here, teleport out. Let's go home, Ash says, and the system delivers the payout. Free exploration complete, rewards sent, and the levels tick up across the board. Ash, Lily, Damien, all climbing. But under a lone streetlight behind them, someone unseen watches him walk away, murmuring that he's the last player to ever make it this far. Elsewhere, masked figures kneel in rows beneath chains of blood-red light, chanting in unison. One voice rises above the rest, "Forgive our sins." Behind them, monstrous shapes stir in the dark, and the whole ritual bends toward one purpose: Everything, all of it, for the Lake Kingdom. Back home, Ash tells everyone good work, get some rest. But Jupiter isn't so sure she can. She can't shake the thought of an entire city that massive buried under the lake, or what might still be moving down there. Brennan cuts in, grim. That darkness they saw wasn't just darkness. It was wrong. Ash waves off a soldier asking if there's anything else to report. For now, no. Silently, he chews on the truth. Even a full clear never explained why the Lake Kingdom drowned, but this time he has a hunch he'll have to walk into that city's very center to uncover it. He shakes it off. Kellen pours himself a stiff drink, admitting he won't sleep sober tonight. Jupiter jumps in, she won't sleep sober either, and drags Kellen off for a drink. He happily offers to show her a good spot. Damien peels away to pray at the temple, still shaken by the darkness. Ash sends him off to rest, then turns in himself. A soldier asks if they're heading back into the dungeons. Ash says not until the next defense battle. Oh, that right, we already scouted it, Ash tells the startled soldier. He explains the coming wave. A sewer rat core, the monster horde overflowing out of the drowned Lake Kingdom once its population caps out, forced to crawl toward the fort. The very monsters they glimpsed during their free exploration are exactly what they'll be fighting at the next defense. They arrive at the estate. We're here, Ader. Ash calls, expecting his rooms and bath ready. Instead, his secretary Ader, a jittery, spectacled aide, bursts in wide-eyed. No reinforcement soldiers are coming. Every nearby city claims it can't spare troops. A monstrous roar suddenly shakes the halls mid-panic. Ash brushes off the apology, since there's nothing he can fix about it tonight anyway. We'll finish this tomorrow, bring the food. Ash grumbles into the night. Next day he grills Ader over the excuse. A war has just flared on the Empire's western front, and every region's available soldiers are being pulled to fight it, leaving nothing to spare for his fort. Ash isn't convinced by the timing. Something's off, he decides, and vows to dig deeper tomorrow. The Empire's always mid-war somewhere, so soldiers vanishing from the south isn't strange on its own, but Ash can't shake how conveniently the timing lines up with his own request. He asks about mercenaries. Ader admits they're hiring everyone available, but too few new recruits have signed on since the last battle. Stumped, Ash mutters, "What should I do?" Until a low chuckle beside him makes him snap around. Desperate, Ash presses harder. Is there any way to get more soldiers? Ader smirks. There is, but it's a pain in the ass. Ash explodes. He's not worried about anyone's ass. He needs manpower for the next defense. Now spit it out. Ader grins wider. Very well then, follow me, and leads a mounted party onto the road, where Lucas spots them and asks where they're headed. To the past lord. Ader answers. They're bound for the house of Front Count Cross. A Front Count, it turns out, isn't just a countryside noble but a military commander charged with guarding the frontier against enemy nations, monsters, and disaster, wielding more authority than any ordinary count. Hooves thunder up the road toward the estate that's ruled this stretch of Crossroad since its founding. Ash and his men ride up to a walled fort city called Crossroad, named for the noble family that built it. A voiceover reveals the twist. Its Front Count gave up the title and land his family held for generations, letting the crown hand the seat to Ash instead. Even Ash can't hide his shock at that sacrifice. Ader only promises the reason is complicated and better explained face to face. The group reaches a secluded vacation house the old lord retreated to after stepping down. As they approach the gate, a sharp voice barks out, demanding to know who's there. An elderly man storms out screaming at them to get out of his house. Ader steps forward first, greeting him warmly like an old friend, and Kellen presses for answers. The old man is revealed as this city's former ruler and grudgingly agrees to hear the visitors out. Ash introduces himself properly, naming himself the Emperor's youngest son and Crossroad's newly appointed lord, keeping his tone respectful despite outranking the old man. Front Count Cross cuts him off cold, ordering him out flatly, then repeats it icily when Ash hesitates in stunned disbelief. Ash's temper flares at being disrespected as royalty, but before he can act, Cross raises a blade against him. Kellen steps in and blocks the strike cold. Ash swallows his fury while Cross keeps roaring for them to leave, snarling that crossing him is madness anyone should avoid. Cross barks at them to leave while he's still using words, and Ash bows out, promising a proper talk next time. As guards hustle him back past a breathless Kellen and Lucas, Ash's thoughts cut in. This drunkard is Charles Cross, father of Evangeline Cross, one of the game's most popular top-tier tanker units. Winning him over could mean recruiting her. Ash presses Ader on how winning over this old man even solves his soldier shortage. Ader explains Cross commands a private elite army loyal only to him, real reinforcements if persuaded, but Ash can't get near him. Ader grins that only a fellow drunkard can get close to a drunkard. Ash groans, cursing the world for forcing him this low. Back at the gate, Ash calls out to the front count again, and Cross screams the same warnings not to come near. Then a wagon rolls up loaded with glittering treasure, and onlookers gasp. Cross demands to know what else they've brought, and Ash answers with a grin. It's exactly what the old man loves most. Cross snaps at Ash to just leave and bother someone else, muttering that at least he could have brought bar snacks. Watching the old drunkard nurse his cup on an empty stomach, Ash gets handed a piece of dried fruit. Grown, Cross admits, in the small orchard he tends right behind this manor. Ash bites in and gags, spitting it straight out. Ash, it turns out, has a reputation, a feral party prince famous for orgies and scandal, and embarrassment wherever he goes. But a guy like that never shows up to the countryside bare-handed, and sure enough he's hauled in a wagon stacked with expensive liquor. He raises a bottle. "Let's have a drink, front count." Cross refuses, then instantly flips, roaring for him to bring it all inside. Cross leads him deeper into the house, and the stench of alcohol hits like a wall. This isn't a man who just drinks. Ash realizes he's drowning in it. Eyeing a grimy glass with real hesitation, Ash pulls out his actual offering instead, Peacemaker's first-year royal whiskey. Cross freezes. That's the reigning emperor's coronation vintage. It's worth a fortune. Ash lays out his pitch straight. He paid a fortune for this bottle, so Cross had better treat him nicely. They drink. Cross gasps, savoring it, admitting quality tastes different. But he demands a cheap bottle for comparison, insisting on a fair judgment. Ash, who barely drinks, can't tell one from the other. He tries steering toward business. Cross shuts it down cold. Cross explodes. How dare Ash spit out fruit that took hard work to grow? Ash fires back that Cross can't stomach it either, and the old man admits it tastes like garbage, then shoves another piece on him anyway since he can't eat it himself. Kellen watches, weirdly convinced by the logic. Cross starts in. Crossroad sits at the continent's southern edge with long days and fertile soil. The land could grow crops in abundance, Cross explains, if it weren't invaded by monsters every few days. The creatures trample fields and kill farmers, and when they die their dark energy leaks into the soil, cursing it so nothing planted there survives. That's why there's no farmland left around Crossroad. Cross stares at his glass, troubled. This drink can't have come from this poisoned ground. Ash puts it together. That orchard is Cross's regret. Tend it anyway, even though he can't get properly drunk now that nothing edible grows here. He asks Cross straight out why he agreed to see him today. Cross braces to say it even if it gets him thrown out. The monsters are stirring again in formidable numbers, and though the last invasion was barely stopped, the walls are badly damaged. A soldier's voice cries out that they're hopelessly outnumbered, screaming for reinforcements. Ash presses Cross. They need the soldiers under his command. But there are none. His old comrades all set down their weapons the day he gave up his title. Ash urges him to recall them to duty. Cross refuses. This land isn't worth protecting. Ash reels. What do you mean? Don't waste innocent lives. Charo. Cross warns Ash, protect the frontier by evacuating everyone instead. It's the same grim creed handed down by every lord who's ruled this dying land. No hope, no future here, so leave before the curse swallows you whole. Ash walks off crestfallen. Did you persuade him? Kellen asks. Nope, Ash admits. I failed, but I got a present. Ash figures the whiskey was worth every coin spent. Kellen eyes the group, asking what happened to the front count. The guy looks wrecked. Lucas plays dumb. Privately, Ash curses whoever arranged this meeting, then shrugs it off. Persuasion or not, the job's the same. Repair the wall, prepare for war, cut down every monster with everything he's got. Back to Crossroad, there's work to do. A system window flickers to life. Stage 2 enemy intel. Beside an unidentified, still-shadowed threat sits an entry for the large sewer rat, and its body count keeps climbing faster and faster until it lands on a number that stops everyone cold. 3,251 incoming. The next morning, crews hack the massive sword free from the fort wall and start clearing rubble to begin repairs. Ash stops them from hauling the debris away. Spread the broken shards out front instead, he says, and it doubles as a barricade, perfect for tripping up rats. Then he turns to the foreman. What's the timeline to fix this wall? Cut to the chase. Ash presses. How long? 10 days, the foreman answers. Ash's face falls. They've got barely a week until the next attack, nowhere near enough time. This wall is the Empire's finest architecture, not something patched with a few stones, but he'll supply materials and workers himself. Finish it in a week, no excuses, he orders, ignoring the foreman's stammered protest. No mistake, no hallucination. 3,000 of those dog-sized rats they'd spotted earlier are barreling toward Crossroad. The wall isn't optional anymore. It's the only thing standing between the town and that swarm. Exhausted, the workers vow to give everything they've got. Ash thanks them quietly, promising he won't forget the sacrifice this repair is costing them. We're protecting the world. Ash rallies the crew. Let's get to it. Yes, sir. They cheer. Days blur past. Mornings spent overseeing wall repairs. Nights spent drinking in silence with Charo. Cross at his house. Nothing passing between them but refilled glasses. The defense line rises steadily, stone by stone, and Ash's liver takes the beating right along with it. Hour after hour, glass after glass, after 4 straight days of silence, Cross finally speaks. Do you have someone you love? He asks. Ash blinks, caught off guard. Pardon. Cross repeats the question flatly and reads Ash's silence as an answer. I guess you don't, he says. Ash blurts a denial, but Cross presses again. Think hard. Is there really no one? Ash mutters, someone I love, and sinks into memory. Before this world, he was just a lonely streamer back on Earth, unloved and unloving, watching a viewer flash cash on screen with a sneering, how much for you now? The chat's mission demands he strip on camera. Ash recoils, hands up, screaming no, then realizes that twisted attention was never real love. Back in the present, Cross calls his life hard, and Ash, laughing it off, throws the question back. Cross answers flatly, I did. Cross names her. His late wife, Elise, the only person he ever loved. She died 3 years ago, torn apart by monsters in this very orchard her funeral held over an empty coffin. Ash goes quiet as Cross brings up a curse passed down through every lord of this land. Cross lays out the curse. Every lord of Crossroad, back through his father and grandfather, faces one moment where they must choose the city over their precious person, no exceptions ever. He lifts his glass, admitting his own moment came during decades of quiet, when the monsters had gone still. With the city's coffers dry, Cross starts his own venture on Elise's advice, pushing farmland south of the front into quiet, rarely raided territory. Word of fertile land spreads, settlers pour in, and for a while the gamble pays off. The south stays peaceful while the north stays at war. Cross remembers the orchard Elise built with her own hands, feeding him grapes from their first, useless but sweet harvest. For one shining moment, watching her dirtied hands and their little home among the vines, he believed he could quit killing monsters and just farm beside her instead. That peace can't hold. In their second farming year, intel comes in, roughly 100 large monsters closing on the city. Cross rushes back to the fort. Elise, watching over the orchard, tells him to be careful and kisses him goodbye. Only in the city does he learn the horde has split in two. One splinter group tears into the farmland where Elise waits, while the main horde slams into the city gates. Cross has seconds to choose: ride back for his wife or hold the walls for the tens of thousands sheltering inside. He locks eyes with Ash. "What do you think I chose?" Cross confirms it. He chose the city, like every ancestor before him. He holds the fort walls through hours of brutal fighting, driving the monsters back. But rushing home to the farmland after, he finds the fields shredded, the people slaughtered, his orchard destroyed and his wife among the dead. Cross stayed loyal to his duty, and it cost him everything precious to him. Ash asks what went wrong: the crumbling defense line, the overstretched land. Cross admits the fault is his, but what haunts him most is the choice itself. In that moment, he picked the city over his wife. His daughter called him crazy for it, and days later she vanished from Crossroad. Cross lays out the toll. His wife dead, his daughter gone, and him left to rot alone in this house. He tells young Ash this is just one story among many. Crossroad is known as the City of Graves, a place built on death that will force him to choose too someday. Cross explains the burden plainly. To protect this city, there comes a moment when you must sacrifice something precious, not a curse, but a prediction, an unavoidable cause and effect. His family has carried that weight for generations under their banner, but he refuses to hand the cursed job to his daughter. Ash only manages a quiet, "I see." So Cross retired not from exhaustion, but to keep his daughter from inheriting the position, wanting her free of this cursed land to live happily elsewhere. Ash realizes this daughter is Evangeline Cross, the SSR-ranked tanker he's been dying to recruit, and her father is deliberately keeping her far from the battlefront. Cross pours a drink and asks if Ash still wants his help. Cross says flatly he's protected this city enough, even paying with everyone he loved, and now he wants out. Ash sits in stunned silence. In the glass reflecting Cross's eyes, there's no pride left in a lifetime guarding the front line, only the wish to die in his orchard, not atop the fort wall, and regret for not being there when his wife died.